I find Miss Reeves in my living room.
Did you let her in?
She kind of like pushed away and...
This former girlfriend has a different take.
I asked him for some money, and he agreed, and he let me in.
Who let you in?
Orlando.
But a foot chase and a 911 call say otherwise.
She's right here with me right now. Please get here.
So?
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. 20-year-old Orlando Hernandez is suing his ex-girlfriend, 20-year-old Montiel Reeves, for assault.
Order. All rise. Now it's case number 306 on the calendar in the matter of Hernandez versus Reeves.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Miss Reeves, how long were you and Mr. Hernandez a couple?
About 4 years.
And during a period of that time, he was incarcerated?
Yes.
And while he was incarcerated, did you visit with him?
No.
When he came out of jail, did you renew your relationship?
No.
So he came out of prison when, Mr. Hernandez?
January 19th of 2014, actually. I was incarcerated in juvenile hall.
For how long?
Almost 6 months.
So it's been a long time since you had a relationship of any kind with Miss Reeves. And how old were you then?
I was 17.
And how old were you, Miss Reeves?
17.
Now, I want you to tell me, Mr. Hernandez, what happened on July 24th of this year?
Well, on July 24th, I was out walking my dog, and I had got a call from my friend here that Miss Reeves was at my doorstep looking for me.
Would you stand up, please? Tell me your name, sir.
Benny Ma.
Are you a neighbor?
Friend.
Were you at his house?
Yeah.
Were you staying at his house that day?
Yeah, because I usually go over there and play games with him.
And about what time was this that you called and said Miss Reeves was at the door? Afternoon.
Yeah.
Where were you, Mr. Hernandez?
I was out walking my dog, about 15 minutes away.
Prior to July 24th, when had you last seen Miss Reeves?
I want to say about a month and a half or 2 months before, when she, again, rushed into my house.
What do you mean rushed into your house?
She came into my house again, uninvited.
Did you ever report her to the police?
Yes, I did. And I tried filing for a restraining order, and I was denied.
Before that, so let's say this was in July, you're talking about June, May, April, March. Did you have any social interaction with her at all?
None at all. None.
So you haven't been out with her on a date?
No.
Since you were 17?
Pretty much.
So you turned around, you got a call from your friend who was at your house, you turned around, you got back to your house with your dog. What kind of a dog do you have?
I have a dingo pit bull mix.
Got back to the house and?
I find Miss Reeves in my living room, and...
Did you let her in?
Kind of. She kind of like pushed away and...
Well, what does that mean? You said kind of.
Yeah, like...
Did you let her in?
No, she like pushed her away a little bit.
What is a little bit?
Like, I was like hesitant on letting her in, but then when she like just started pushing, I just like let her in.
And what did she do?
I just waited there and I called Orlando.
Did she tell you to call Orlando?
No, she said she was looking for him.
Did she say why?
No.
Why were you looking?
I wasn't in his living room.
Where
he
were
let
you?
me in. He let me in.
Who let you in?
I called him prior to that because I asked him for some money, and he agreed, and he let me in.
Who let you in?
Orlando.
Orlando is Mr. Hernandez?
Yes.
So he let you in?
Yes.
Not his friend?
No.
Okay. So you hadn't actually seen him in a couple of months, is that right?
Yes.
Now, when you last saw him, did he call the police?
No.
Never called the police?
No.
You were never interviewed by the police?
No, just that day of that incident.
You mean on July 24th?
Yes.
Now, what did you call him for?
If he can lend me 20 bucks.
Why?
Because I was in need of some money at the time.
Well, you hadn't seen him in a very long time.
I haven't, but when he got out, he
got out in 2014.
Your Honor, he was let out 2015, January 2015.
Yes.
Not 2014.
Is that right?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
2015. What did you need 20 bucks for?
For my personal need.
No, tell me what you need 20 bucks for.
To buy some snacks or anything.
You needed
like
snacks?
That. Yeah.
What happened, Mr. Hernandez, when you got back with the dog?
Well, I proceeded to let her know that, you know, she's not wanted there. She needs to leave. At this point, she starts arguing back with me, and I immediately call the cops and get them on the line.
What do you do for a living, Miss Reeves?
I work at TJ Maxx.
He's disabled.
Do you live with him?
Currently, yes.
What is that? That's a hesitation, Mr. Hernandez.
Well, my dad, he gave up his apartment, and he's going to be moving into it. He's waiting to get certified for a brand new apartment before he moves in, so I told him, he can stay with me, until he gets his place.
So he stays with you?
Yes, at this moment, but during that time, he wasn't.
Are you paid as a caregiver for him?
Yes, I am.
By whom?
IHSS.
How much do you get?
About $1,400.
A what?
A month.
How old is your father?
He's 45.
What's the nature of his disability?
He's double below amputee.
Did he have a caregiver other than you before?
Yes, he has.
How long have you been his caregiver?
About June of 2015.
Did you finish your GED when you were incarcerated?
Yes, I graduated and I walked the stage March of, June 2nd of this year.
So tell me, now you turned around, came home, you found her in the living room.
Yeah.
You called the police.
Yeah.
And they recorded the incident of what was going on in your house.
Yes.
Do you have something to show me?
Yes, I do. I have video of the assault and, excuse me, and everything that had took place that day.
Because what you claim is Miss Reeves' assault damage to your home.
Yes, she has.
I'd like to see.
I need assistance right now.
Okay, I cannot hear you with the yelling. Can you exit the apartment?
I told you it's 164. She just broke my headphones right now. Ma'am, I would expect you to track my location right now. You guys got technology like that. Record my location. She broke my headphones right now. She put her hands on me.
Your address, sir.
Okay. I said my address is 2264. Get here now, please. She put her hands on me.
Sir, what is your last name?
Hernandez. She put her hands on me. Now she's slamming my door and doing damage to my apartment.
What is your date of birth?
My date of birth is 96. My friend's a witness. She threw this at me.
Stronger high today.
Well, she has weed on her and she's breaking out my window right now.
Okay. Have you been drinking anything today?
She locked my door and she's breaking out my window. Minnie, call the cops. Hey, she's right here with me right now. Please get here. No.
What? No.
Your hands on me. Follow me. No, you just put your hands on me. You're on recording. You're on recording. Hey, Benny, call the cops. You guys need to get here now.
So?
I didn't destroy any of his property.
I don't believe the $20. Let's start with that. What were you doing in his apartment, Miss Reeves?
He agreed to give me money.
I don't believe you. You want to tell me what you were doing in the apartment?
He was going to give me money. He let me in. I did not force my way into his apartment.
When you saw him on the phone with the police, which I saw, where were you?
I was in the room.
What room?
His bedroom.
Okay. Now, I saw you walk through the corridor. That was you.
Mm-hmm.
Walking the end of the corridor. That was you. Why didn't you just leave?
He wouldn't let me leave out the door. I was in the room.
He was on the phone with the police. All he wanted you to do was get out.
He wasn't going to let me out.
How did you know that? He wasn't blocking the door.
Well, I didn't know that. I didn't know what he would do to me. So I just locked myself in the room and jumped out the window.
Now, you have pictures of the damage.
I have the police report of that day, too.
The headphones here?
Headphones, too. I'm going to take a look at the police report, and I would like to see the headphones.
Police report? Yes.
Same report?
Yes. Yeah.
You weren't injured, were you?
She punched me.
You say she slapped you in the face.
No, I got hit right here in my lower jaw and my neck.
Did it require medical attention?
No, I was
Okay.
more concerned with my safety at the time.
You have a restraining order against the plaintiff?
Yes.
When did you get a restraining order against him?
December 29th, 2014.
2 years ago.
Yes.
Why?
It was ordered by the court. They thought I needed protection from him.
Why?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? You had to have applied for a protective order.
I didn't. I was in Marjorie Mason at the time when he was locked up.
You were what?
I was in Marjorie Mason.
What is that?
It's like a house for women that have been domestic violence and stuff like that.
Well, who was the victim of domestic violence?
Me.
And who was the perpetrator of the domestic violence?
Him.
And that was in 2014. So he was 17, you were 17, and what did he do to you?
He lacerated my knee. He threw me in some glass.
You remember that?
Yes.
I have the medical record for that.
He admits that he did that. Then why did you go to his apartment? Because you needed money for snacks?
Yes.
That doesn't sound normal to me. Does it sound normal?
No.
Not to me either.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He wanted to have sex with you, and then he would give you money. She looked back at the bedroom door, and she saw the roommate blocking the door.
They were both at the door.
That's not what you just told me a moment ago. You told me he was in the living room playing a game.
And later today,
You got the insurance check that he negotiated for $6,500. Because you're a smart lady, you already have $6,500 in your hand. And then he says you fired him and hired somebody else to do it cheaper.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Orlando Hernandez says ex-girlfriend Montiel Reeves barged into his home, damaged his property, and assaulted him.
Now, how did these get broken?
I don't know. I didn't break him. I didn't destroy any of his property. I tried to leave. I tried to leave the scene.
Where was his roommate?
In the living room, playing the game.
What kind of game was he playing?
Fallout, something like that.
When did you first see his roommate?
Oh, I know him.
No, when did you see him that day?
When I was let in the house by Orlando.
And where was he?
Orlando was in the living room.
And where was his roommate?
In the living room.
And who opened the door and let you in?
Orlando.
How many bedroom window of Mr. Hernandez?
Yes.
Room?
Yes.
And his roommate was in his room playing games?
No, he was in the living room playing the game.
How did you know he was in the living room?
Because when I got there, he was there on the game.
And when you went into the bedroom, you assumed he was still in the living room?
Yes.
Is that right? Mm-hmm. Let me tell you what you told the police. Because after they interviewed him and you knew you were in trouble, you called the police. Because you figured you were in trouble. And you said that Mr. Hernandez let you into his apartment, and he told you to go to the bedroom and he would get her some money. You told the police when she walked into his bedroom, she looked behind her and saw Mr. Hernandez's roommate follow her and stand in the doorway. That's what you told the police. And Mr. Hernandez said to you he wanted to have sex with you and then he would give you money. No. And said she looked back at the bedroom door and she saw the roommate blocking the door by standing in the doorway with his arms against the door jamb. You forgot all about that.
They were both at the door.
That's not what you just told me a moment ago. You told me he was in the living room playing a game.
Yes, he went to the living room. Before anything started, he was in the living room. But
I didn't ask you when everything started. I asked you where he was. You said he was in the living room.
Yeah,
you didn't tell me that he was blocking the door by crossing his arms, not letting you out of the bedroom.
Before anything happened, he was in the living room.
Mr. Hernandez, and told him that that was not going to happen and she was going to kick his... She said she pushed past Mr. Hernandez and his roommate with minimal force and left the apartment to call the police. You just told me you went out through the window.
I did go through the window.
That's not what you told the police. That's not what you told the police. You told them you pushed past the bedroom door, pushed past both of them with minimal force, and left the apartment to call the police.
Through the window.
Yeah, okay, good.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
I want to see the bill or your check to the contracting company who ultimately finished the job.
Well, they're still working on the job because it took a long time for him.
Ms. Burkett, let us understand each other.
Okay.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Orlando Hernandez says ex-girlfriend Montiel Reeves barged into his home, damaged his property, and assaulted him.
Okay, can I see the damage to the window? And how much were these?
Those are $411 after.
What?
Those were $379, $411 after tax.
Leave him alone. He doesn't want to be bothered with you anymore.
Okay.
Now, you have out-of-pocket damages of $456. That includes the screen that was fixed.
Yes.
And the headphones.
Yes.
You're suing her also for an assault.
Yes, I am.
And I'm telling you that I'm going to award you another $500 for the assault.
Okay.
$956. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done.
Okay.
Leave him alone.
Excuse me, step out.
You know, I'm happy. I'm happy the way things came out.
I don't have nothing to say.
She wasn't invited. I knew nothing about that. She came on her own will.
I don't have nothing to say.
Well, judging on the last time she had came to my place, she wanted to throw herself on me for some money.
I want him to leave me alone.
Well, I hope she leaves me alone, you know, and get on with her life because, I mean, I've since made my life a lot better than what it was.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Burkett versus Menino. Step forward.
Tanika Burkett is suing contractor Joseph Menino for the return of her deposit on work he never performed.
Ms. Burkett, you had a problem with one of your bathrooms, and allegedly you retained the defendant to do the work on the bathroom.
Yes, ma'am.
He came up with an estimate for the job, which was how much, sir?
It totaled out to be
Figure arrived at with her insurance company.
It was.
So the $6,500 was arrived at with her insurance company to do whatever work. She gave you a $2,500 deposit.
Correct.
That's what you're suing for back? You say he didn't do the job, you got somebody else to do it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you're going to tell me why you got somebody else to do it. I want to see the bill from the other contracting company who actually did the job. I want to see the paid bill or your check to the contracting company who ultimately finished the job. May I see it, please?
We're still working on the job.
Well, then you brought your suit prematurely. I'm not giving you your money back. You got $6,500. I don't know how much you paid to have the job done.
Well, they're still working on the job because it took a long time for him.
Ms. Burkett, let us understand each other.
Okay.
Until I have proof of what it cost you to fix the bathroom with a paid bill and your check, you're not getting any money back from the defendant. I'm going to tell you why.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, what he says is that you got the $100, which he probably padded, and then he says you fired him and hired somebody else to do it cheaper. So I have to find out how much the other company is charging you to do the bathroom. And it's disingenuous of you to say to me they're still working on it because you would have had an estimate from them. Nobody pays hourly and materials. You would have gotten a full estimate. This is what I will charge you to do the bathroom. Because you're a smart lady, you already have $6,500 in your hand.
He didn't even give me an estimate.
He
never wrote me up an estimate.
Listen to me. He doesn't have to give you an estimate. Because at the time, you didn't have any money coming out of your pocket. Listen, the arrangement you had, as long as the money wasn't coming out of your pocket, said you make the arrangements with the insurance company. Well, now you have $6,500 in your bank account, which is what he negotiated with the insurance company for his fee, and then you fired him. Now, if you got a contractor to do the job for $4,000 in the bathroom, that means that you're pocketing $2,500. And in addition to pocketing the $2,500, you want more money from him. So I'm not hearing your case until I see a paid bill contractor who did your bathroom. Do you understand?
I understand what you're saying.
Great. So your case is dismissed without prejudice. We're done here.
Wow.
Parties are excused.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I had to have someone else come out and do the work because I can't afford to hire another contractor because he took money from me.
I don't really know. I invested a lot of time. I disagree with what she says.
No, he was lazy, and then he didn't show up half the time.
I would disagree with that, too. We went shopping like 3 different times.
Because he basically stole $2,500 from me. I gave him a check for $2,500.
We redesigned things 3 different times.
To do the bathroom, and he never showed up to do the work.
I worked at the house.
And then I think that he was on drugs and stuff.
I would have to deny that, you know. I don't know where that comes from.
Don't call Joe.
Be a little carefuler, right? Yeah, and get your contractor's name on the check from the insurance company.
You hit a brand new car, you had no insurance, and you were dodging her.
A driver wishing it would all go away.
But you gave her a phony number when she wrote down your number.
No, I did not.
Oh, yes, you did.
But this crash victim wouldn't let it go.
She came to my house and she actually rang my doorbell.
Because she wanted her money. Understand what the ground rules are here.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Velvet Polk is suing Jeanette Wilson for vandalizing her car and harassment.
Order. All rise. It's case number 305 on the calendar, the matter of Polk versus Wilson.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Ms. Polk, I read the complaint and the answer and the counterclaim in this case. And what I'm getting from both of you is that you were involved in an automobile accident with the defendant.
Yes.
It appears that the accident was your fault.
Yes.
The defendant was driving a brand new car. She had gotten it a day or so before, correct?
Yes.
And it had insurance on it, correct?
Yes.
After the accident, which took place in a parking lot?
Yes.
After the accident, the defendant went to the police station. You were supposed to follow her.
No.
Yes.
Just a second. Had you exchanged information?
Yes, I gave her my name.
You gave her your name?
My name and my number, yes.
Name and phone number.
Yes.
Did you give her your insurance card?
I did not give her my insurance card. My insurance card came out with my insurance, but I told her I hadn't paid my insurance
Just
bill.
a second. So the problem was you were driving your car that was uninsured.
Yes.
That's the problem. Now, she used her insurance to fix her car, but she had a $1,000 deductible. That was your responsibility. Let's get the facts of this case straight out, because I have a feeling you're not processing what this is all about, because you're suing her for harassing you.
Yes.
Because she wanted her money.
Yes.
Other than that, she wouldn't have called you. She wouldn't have called you 100 times or 50 times. She wanted her money because you were driving around, you hit her brand new car, you had no insurance, and you were dodging her.
I was not dodging her.
Absolutely. Did you give her her $1,000?
No.
Well, she's going to get it today.
Okay.
So let's understand what the ground rules are here. Your allegation is that Miss Wilson vandalized your car.
Yes.
And the accident to her car that you caused happened on what date?
It happened on May 13th.
Now, she had your name
Yes.
and telephone number. Did you ever speak to her on the phone?
Well, she didn't. She claimed I didn't give her she didn't write down the right number at first, so she called Progressive, and Progressive was calling me, and I told Progressive to give her
no insurance card because you didn't have one, but you gave her a phony number when she wrote down your number.
No, I did not.
Oh, yes, you did. Oh, yes, you did.
I didn't give her a phony number. That's
Yes.
why I told Progressive to give her the actual phone number.
That was only because you got called by what you considered an authority.
Well, no, she
But at the street, when you asked her for your name, you gave her your name, didn't give her your license, didn't give her registration for the car, didn't give her anything, and you gave her a telephone number that turned out to be wrong.
Because she wrote it down wrong.
No. She's driving a brand new car that you just hit in an accident that was your fault. I guarantee you Miss Wilson did not write down the number wrong, because that doesn't make sense. What makes sense is that you were a smarty pants and gave her the wrong number and figured she would go away. Well, she didn't go away. Now, on what date do you claim she vandalized your car?
May 17th.
I'd like to see a police report.
Your Honor, I have a copy of the police report, too.
Just a second. I'd like to see it. Is it the same report?
It's not dated the 17th.
Okay. I'd like to see what you have. Well, first of all, this says that this happened on July. This report says it happened on July 7th. And this sentence has happened on October 5th.
That's the date when I got the actual police reports. That's the incident when I called when she came out to my house.
It says date 7/7, description, scratches passenger door, 3-car tires. And this says the occurrence was from October 5th. Actually, it says the occurrence date was on October 5th.
And there's a narrative, too, Your Honor.
Okay, so now I'm going to read what the narrative is. The victim, that would be you, says, on May 17th, upon arising, I spoke to the victim, Violet Polk, who stated that sometime between 22:30 hours on Monday the 16th and 800 hours on the 17th, an unknown suspect damaged her 2012 Dodge Charger by slashing tires and putting scratches on the driver's side, passenger side.
Yes.
So your car was vandalized?
Yes.
And?
Well, I said it was...
Don't raise your hand.
Well, because when I was talking to her the day before and we was back and forth in arguments, she was...
What were you arguing about?
Saying that she wanted the money damages to her car. She found out...
Sir, I'm sorry, I didn't have insurance. Can I work up a payment plan for you to pay off your deductible?
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't.
I have
Absolutely
it. Yes,
not.
I do. I have it in Texas where I told her because when the accident, when I got out, it was some minor scratches, and I told her that if she didn't, she said she knew somebody. I said I knew somebody as well, and we said it would be no more than a few $100s. I looked at the car. She never got out of her car. She never once got out of her car. She never called the police or anything. But I have it in Texas. We discussed a few $100s. I sent her a text to her phone, and I said, you got greedy. I told her, I said, you got greedy, and then you went and got estimates. I sent her a text.
Just a second.
Your Honor?
Her insurance, which she had, fixed her car, but she had a $1,000 deductible. I am certain that you have the bill for me with the $1,000 deductible.
Yes.
Get it out, and Officer Byrd will take it.
Your Honor,
Just a second. You reported an unknown person vandalized your car. Connect the defendant with that unknown person who vandalized your car. Connect it.
I have voicemails where she has threatened me, saying she have came to my house and know where I stayed at.
Okay.
And she have looked me up on the internet.
I know where she stayed.
Just a second. So, connect her with the vandalism to your car. I want you to connect her to the vandalism, and if you want to speak to these two young ladies, maybe they can help you. Neither one of you witnessed her vandalizing the car. No way.
Your Honor,
there was
way.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
No, just a second. No way, because this police report was the next.
That is three different incidents. There's three different times that she came. My car was vandalized.
Voicemails, text messages, and everything.
Don't speak.
Sorry.
Your Honor, I've never seen these ladies before in my life.
Just a second.
Sorry, Your Honor, there are three different incidents. There's a tire being slashed. There's when she came to my house on October 4th, and she actually rung my doorbell.
In October? You mean you hadn't paid her by October?
No, I didn't pay. I hadn't paid her because my tires was getting slashed. I was going to file. I was trying to get a lawyer to file bankruptcy, but my tires had been slashed. Once I was trying to get the money, my tires was getting slashed. My car was steady being vandalized. I seen her vandalize my car.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, on the
Just a second. Show me your police report. Okay. I just want to see. So far, I've read a police report that says unknown suspect.
Here you go.
Now,
these are the other two police reports.
Fine. I'm going to take a look at them.
I have pictures.
Your Honor, give her the text.
I don't want to.
Okay. I have the text messages. I have everything.
All I will hear anything and look at anything where she admits vandalizing your car.
Can you hear the voicemail where she threatens her, Your Honor?
No.
Oh.
And don't shout out again, I'll put you out. Were you ever contacted by the police about any vandalism?
No, ma'am. I even went to the police department to get a copy of the fake police report she wrote on me.
Now go. Out.
If you read the narrative, Judge Judy, on the police report I gave you, I have something to contradict what she's saying.
All I know is she called the police. She said you would come to her house, and she saw you pass by her car on that date and do something to her car. And when she went out to look at her car, and that was on...
October 4th. She came 2 nights in a row, October 4th and the 5th.
Just a second. This was on October 3rd is what the report says.
October 3rd.
Oh, well, so it wasn't the 4th or the 5th. It was October 3rd.
Okay, October 3rd and October 4th because she came 2 days in a row.
But the police report that I have, Your Honor, says October 5th.
May I see it?
I gave it to you.
Oh, that one says the 5th.
Can I tell you why it says the 5th?
But look at read the narrative, Your Honor.
Because on the night out and actually called my phone, I had went to sleep. They called 2:40 in the morning. So when I seen I had a missed call when I was taking my daughter to school at 7, I called them back, which was the next day.
So what were you taking your daughter to school in?
On a flat tire.
What were you taking your daughter to school in? In your car?
Yes.
And who insures your car now? Give me the name of the company that insures your car.
Acceptance.
We're going to stop here right now, and you're going to go outside and get me a copy of your updated insurance to show me that your car is currently insured.
Okay.
Great. We'll be back.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
If your license are suspended, nobody's going to insure you.
Your license was suspended on July 22nd, 2016. Why was your license suspended in July?
And later today.
So far, we're not in a good situation, you and I, because you started out by not telling me the truth.
Yes, Your Honor.
Because so far, you've lied to me 4 or 5 times in a span of 5 minutes.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Velvet Polk says Jeanette Wilson vandalized her car and harassed her. Jeanette is countersuing for car damage, a false police report, and emotional distress.
Now, I'll take... So this accident happened in May, and you finally got insurance in July.
Yes.
Now I'll hear you.
I've never heard of an insurance company insuring somebody with suspended license. I contacted the Ohio Bureau of Motor Vehicles and told them what happened. They sent
Don't tell me. Just let me see what they sent you.
If your license are suspended, nobody's going to insure you.
Your license was suspended on July 22nd, 2016. Your insurance was effective July 9th. Why was your license suspended in July?
Well, that's because I hadn't made arrangements to pay her. So they said once I had made arrangements to pay, because whatever her insurance had called the BMV and had got my license insurance, they had sent me something.
Do you have a license? Was your license reinstated?
No, but they gave me my license back.
Was your license reinstated?
No, my license has not been reinstated yet.
So what were you doing driving your daughter to school in October?
Because she didn't have a way to school.
Your case is dismissed. Judgment for the defendant on her counterclaim for $1,000. We're done.
Can I say something, Judge?
Your case is dismissed.
Okay.
You do the wrong thing. When you do the wrong thing, you don't come to court and ask for their help. Let me tell you what you did. You drove a car you finally got insurance 2 months after you caused damage to her car. Then they suspended your license. I don't know why they suspended your license, but they suspended it in July. And you still continue to drive. You don't get rewarded by courts for that. Do you understand? And you gave her a wrong phone number. I mean, I understand everything that you did, but then don't come to court and say, poor me, I'm a victim.
Judge, I did not give her the wrong phone.
Judgment on the counterclaim for $1,000. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I admit that what I did was an accident.
She hit my car.
But what she did was intentionally her coming to my house.
No, I did not.
Threatening me, came to my house several times, damaged my car.
No.
I don't know why the police didn't arrest her.
To drive with insurance.
No, it has not been fixed.
And a driver's license.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter, Brown versus Thomas. Step forward.
Charles Brown is suing his ex-girlfriend, Victoria Thomas, for a stolen laptop.
Mr. Brown, Miss Thomas used to be your girlfriend. This lawsuit is about a laptop.
Yes, ma'am.
A laptop that you claim Miss Thomas took with her when the two of you separated and she left.
Yes, ma'am.
And you acknowledge that she purchased it, but your claim is that you gave her $400 in addition to the money that she owed. It was yours.
Right.
Miss Thomas says, no, it's her laptop. Okay, so let's go back a bit with you, Miss Thomas. When did you move in with Mr. Brown?
I never stayed with Mr. Brown.
Well, you did stay with him because he gave you a key to his apartment. That's what you said in your answer.
Yes, Your Honor.
So that you did stay with him.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so let's not play.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
I read what I read.
Okay.
Fine.
So,
when?
The month of June.
June what?
I don't know the exact date, but the month of June,
Well,
I stayed with him.
you had been living with your family before.
Yes, Your Honor. So I stayed with him the month of June.
And they asked you to leave, or you decided to leave on your own?
He asked me to move with him, Your Honor.
Okay, so now he asked you to move in with him.
But I stayed with him only the month of June.
Were you working at the time?
No, Your Honor.
So far, we're not in a good situation, you and I, because you started out by not telling me the truth.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
If he gives me a key and I only stay there 3 days a week, does that mean I moved in with him? I had moved back home. We were on and off because he was head of infidelity. That's why I'm trying to, I don't understand that.
Oh, you understand me just fine.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Charles Brown says ex-girlfriend Victoria Thomas stole his laptop.
I bought the laptop in June, but it's not charged till July the 26th.
On what date does it say it was purchased?
It says it was charged on July 27th.
July 27th.
July 26th.
We're still not doing well here, you and I. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
Okay.
Now, when you moved in with Mr. Brown, you took your property from your parents' house?
Not all my property. I still have property at my parents' house.
What property did you take with you? Be very careful.
Yes, Your Honor.
What were you doing when you were living with your parents?
Looking for a job.
Had you gone to school?
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
What school?
Virginia College for respiratory therapy. And I'm also in the Army Reserve.
When did you last go to college? When was the last day you attended school?
April 2016.
You had a laptop when you were in college.
No, Your Honor, I didn't.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
I didn't have a laptop when
I don't believe you.
I understand that.
Yeah, because so far you've lied to me 4 or 5 times in a span of 5 minutes.
I'm not trying to lie to you, Your Honor.
Well, but you did.
Yes,
you understand you did when you first started. I said, when did you move in with him? You said I never moved in with him.
I have a question. If all my belongings are not there, that's why I'm trying to, I don't understand that.
Oh, you understand me just fine.
Okay.
How many years did you go to college?
2.
You had a laptop. Who paid your tuition?
The military, Your Honor.
Did you also get paid from the military?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you lived at home?
Yes, Your Honor.
Great. You had a computer.
I didn't have a computer.
Oh, yes, you did. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, you did. Military paid for your education. Military probably paid for a computer. Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay. Now, when did you give her the $400? On what date?
I gave it to her like in pieces. The last $200 I gave her was on August the 19th, the day before she stole the laptop. I was at the barbershop getting a haircut. She pulled up. She was like, "Well, I need," cause we weren't together no more. So I was trying to.
When did you separate?
August.
And you say you separated in August. Is that when she moved out of your apartment?
Yes, ma'am.
Beginning of August, middle of August, end of August?
It's beginning of August.
Your Honor, that's a lot with his other baby mama. So I had to be in his apartment because of his infidelity. I stayed with him in June.
You say right in your answer that in July you got a security job and I needed to carry a gun for work. I'm licensed to carry and was saving for a gun when he offered to loan me his. Around the same time, I purchased a laptop. That was in July. That's what you just swore to. You just told me a minute ago you only lived there in June.
But what I'm saying is I had moved back home. We were on and off because he was head of infidelity. He was sleeping with his baby mother.
How much did you give her for the laptop?
$400.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $400. We're done.
Please excuse me. Step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
You came over there, you was waving that gun, and go bust your across the head. That's what happened.
No, I wasn't waving it around. I was returning his gun, which he's a felon, by the way.
You came over there, you weren't returning a gun, first of all, because I never gave you a gun.
A felon, so he's not supposed to have a gun.
I'm not supposed to have a gun, exactly.
He called me over there to bring the gun, and that's when I got hit in the mouth.
You came over there, how can you get hit when you got a gun in your hand?
Because he set me up to get hit in the mouth and I have a permanent scar, but...
You got the gun in your hand, and you talking about I set you up to get hit, which I took you to the hospital that night, Victoria.
By his ex-girlfriend.
She could say anything.
Because I was arguing with him.
I'm going to put a restraining order on her. That's what I'm going to do.
I think he had a crush on me.
I don't care what you think.
Alone ends a long-term friendship.
Did you tell him what the $1,850 was for?
I told him it was for my rent and my deposit. He said, I think I could be able to do that for you with no problems. We just can't tell my husband.
And a marriage is put to the test.
Now I want you to tell me about the assault.
He is right. My husband was unaware of this loan. He pushed me when I told him to keep his mouth shut and leave.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. William and Linwood Bilefelt are suing William's co-worker, Roderick Grant, for an unpaid loan and an assault.
Order. All rise. It's case number 293 on the calendar in the matter of Bielenfeld versus Grant.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Who's William Bleifeld?
I am, Your Honor.
And you're Linwood.
Yes, ma'am.
You didn't loan the defendant any money.
No, ma'am.
And it's not alleged that you assaulted him at all.
No, ma'am.
You can sit down. I don't know why you're a plaintiff. Do you know why he's a plaintiff?
Yes, we withdrew money to loan him.
No,
But he
wasn't
was not
involved.
knowledgeable of it.
He was not involved.
Correct.
Well, then he's not a plaintiff. Now, you, Mr. Bleifeld, and Mr. Grant worked together.
Yes.
And it is your claim that Mr. Grant came to you and told you that he was sort of in dire straits financially, needed some money to relocate, needed first month's rent and security deposit, and you made a loan to him. In what amount?
$1,850.
And that was for a month's rent and a month's security?
Correct.
On a new apartment. And when did you give him that money?
We began talking about it on April 3rd. I gave him the actual money on April 6th.
How long had you worked together?
We've worked together for a total of 4 years, but I've known him for 10 years, Your Honor.
And exactly what did he say to you?
Well, on the 3rd of April, we were driving into work as he was giving me a ride to work that day. We were carpooling. And he was telling me how he was having an issue at home.
Had you done that for a long time?
Yes. And he had told me that he was having issues at home, which he has been telling me prior to that, but leading up to the April 3rd. On April 3rd, he told me that it's gotten so bad that he was probably going to have to stay in his car. As a friend and as a nice person.
Who were you living with at the time?
Well, I was already staying in another place, but I had to move out of there because it was in a bad neighborhood.
When you say you were having trouble at home, were you living with somebody at home?
I was having trouble in that neighborhood that I had moved to before that. It was like a very bad neighborhood, and I was getting a lot of people messing that neighborhood.
Okay, and is that what you told the plaintiff?
I told him that because I needed to move because I wasn't happy with the situations that I was in.
And did you tell him that you were in need of money?
No, I was not. I did not tell him that I was in need of money. He generally...
No, pay attention.
Okay.
Before the 3rd of April of this year, had you ever given Mr. Bleifeld money yourself as
No.
either a gift or a loan?
No.
Before April the 3rd, had Mr. Bleifeld given you money? Before April the 3rd?
No, not before
no.
April 3rd.
And you've known him for 10 years?
Yes, ma'am.
So now you know somebody for 10 years. There's never been this back and forth with either gifts or loans of any money. So something clearly had to be said, Mr. Grant, in order for him, because you don't deny that he gave you $1,850. So that's not an issue.
Correct.
The issue is for you to explain to me how you have a friendship with somebody with whom you are employed and why there would be an exchange of this specific amount of $1,850. We're not talking about $200 or $500 or $1,000. We're talking about $1,850. You have to explain to me how that $1,850 came about so that I accept your explanation.
Well, to be truthfully honest with you, sir,
I want you to be dishonest with me.
I'm going to be dishonest with you, but...
Did you just say you're going to be dishonest?
No, I'm going to be honest with you.
Oh, good. Okay, so I want you to be very honest with me, and I want you to explain to me why this man who you've known for 10 years, who you work with for 4 years, who you've never had financial dealings with before, would give you this odd amount of money, $1,850. I want you to tell me how that came about.
Well, I think he had a crush on me.
I don't care what you think.
Because he would always buy me dinner.
No, listen to me. Pay careful attention to me. I want you to tell me. I don't care what you think. All I want to know is how it came about that he gave you. What did you say to him? What did he say to you that inspired this check for $1,850? Just that amount.
I told him I was having apartment situations, and it would be nice.
And?
It would be nice if I could probably get some assistance. And
keep going.
He offered.
No. Nice get if I some assistance. I want to know the words.
I'm telling you the words.
So those are the words. It would be nice if I could get some assistance. Shh, just a minute.
I didn't.
And then he said to you, he must have said to you, what kind of assistance? You want me to rent a U-Haul? What do you want me to do? What did he say to you?
And he said, well, Which I needed.
Well, no, tell me exactly what you said to him. Not, I told him how much I needed. That's not what you said to him. You didn't say, I told you how much I needed. You said, I need $1,850.
Yes, I told him I needed $1,850 to move into my new place.
In order to?
And to move into my new place.
Okay. And did you tell him what the $1,850 was for?
I told him it was for my rent and my deposit.
Okay, so you told him you needed $1,850 first month's rent and security deposit.
That is correct.
Okay, and then what did he say to you?
He said, well, I think I could be able to do that for you with no problems. We just can't tell my husband.
And then what happened? That was on April 3rd, so tell me what happened.
And throughout that time...
Don't look up. Look here.
Throughout that time, he's...
Throughout what time?
Throughout that time, through the process of him loaning me the money, he was still flirting with me.
I love it. I love it.
was not
play
flirting
it.
with
Sure,
him at all.
just a second. Mr. Bleifeld.
Yes.
I want you got to listen with your ears and keep your mouth shut because God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. What Mr. Grant just said was, during the time when he loaned me the money. That's what he just said. Now, he may not have realized what he just said, but that's what he said.
And that's what happened.
Good. Fine. $1,850. Now we're going to talk about the second part of your loss. Turn to you $200.
That is correct.
Had you originally given him $1,850?
I did, and he paid me $200 in the beginning of June.
So that means he owes you $1,650.
That is correct.
And when did he give you the $200?
The beginning of June. I was with my husband. We were walking around a Pride festival in our city.
No, just a second. Did you give him $200?
No.
You didn't?
I didn't give him any.
Oh, so you still have an $1,850 loan. Okay, so you didn't give him $200. Two of these, one of these. Do you understand?
Yes.
He knows how to dig it. All you have to do is give him a shovel.
I'd just like to be honest.
Just a second. No. Mr. Grant wants to be honest. He says, I didn't give him $200. And you want me to believe you? Just a second. You want me to believe you?
Yes.
Good. I believe you. You didn't give him $200, so you owe him $1,850. Now I want you to tell me about the assault.
Yes, Your Honor. On the beginning of April, as I said, I gave him this loan. The end of
We're past that.
Okay. End of April. It was the last day of our seasonal employment, as we work for a seasonal job. It was the last day he dropped me off at home. In between the trip at home, I asked him when will I be getting my money back because it was off season. I wouldn't be seeing him at work. He indicated that he would give it to me within a month. So we got home. We were still arguing at the car. He got out of the car screaming and hollering at me. Again, he is right. My husband was unaware of this loan.
Got it.
When my husband heard the argument that was happening outside, he came from the house to see what was going on. He ended up telling my husband that I indeed gave him a loan. As I got upset and I was mad because, I'm more concerned about my relationship at home.
I got it.
He pushed me when I told him to keep his mouth shut and leave. He pushed me, broke a chair. I got a mark on, still a mark, that's on my arm, and I have proof to show that I suffered pain.
Just a second. Did you file a police report?
No, I did not.
Why not?
Why? Because I was too concerned about making amends with my husband because I was...
Just a second. I just wanted to know if you filed a police report. Do you have any medical records?
I'm sorry?
Medical records.
No, I do not.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,850. We're finished. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
That's what friends are for. If he wasn't trying to holler at me or trying to flirt with me, we probably would never had this problem.
He says that's what friends are for. That's not what friends are for. Friends are supposed to be trusted. He was untrusted.
If we would have had actually agreed upon it and actually made documentation and signed it, I probably would have, but we never did that.
I never just freely gave him money. If I was going to freely give money, I would give it to a nonprofit organization, not him.
It's pushed us away a little bit, but I mean...
There's not more friendship. Friendship should be someone that you trust, and I can't trust him.
He's been my friend for 10 years to be.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Calitri versus Duncan. Step forward.
Devin Calitri is suing Clinton Duncan for unpaid car payments and lost wages.
Bird, while I'm doing this and inquiring, would you please look up a 1999 Ford Expedition XLT?
Sure thing.
Okay? Mr. Duncan, I want to start with you. How long have you known the plaintiff?
Since high school, Your Honor.
And she was selling a car. How did you find out she was selling a car?
Through a mutual friend.
And you went and took a look at the car?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
When was that?
Around mid-March.
Did you see any advertisement for the car, or you just heard it by word of mouth?
Just by word of mouth, sure.
Did you know what she was asking for the car before you met her?
No, ma'am.
So you met her in mid-March, and she told you what she wanted for the car?
Yes.
How much did she want for the car?
$1,000.
How old are you?
30 or 43.
I sometimes try to transpose digits myself. Doesn't work. I assume before you went to look at the car that you either went on the internet or got a Kelley Blue Book value of the car.
Yes,
I
ma'am,
assume you did.
Rough estimate.
And what was the rough estimate on the car?
Somewhere around $1,000 to $1,200.
And what source did you use?
Just on the internet, just
Price for the car?
$950.
Is there a range, or it's just $950?
It's between $825 and $950.
Now, I assume that before you went to sell the car, you also looked up its value.
I did, Your Honor.
And I assume a Kelley Blue Book is a Kelley Blue Book.
My Kelley Blue Book value actually came up differently. I did it online. I don't know if that makes any difference at all, but my range going from a fair up to great, excellent condition was $1,800 to $2,800.
I'm going to give you an opportunity to go and find that site for me.
Okay.
Where you looked it up on your Kelley Blue Book online.
Okay.
And then come back.
Okay.
Great.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Her story's beginning to look a lot better. It was beginning to look lousy in the beginning of this case. Now it's beginning to look a lot better. Got it?
Yes.
Okay. So let's you and I not play with each other.
Right.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Devin Calitri says Clinton Duncan owes for a Ford Expedition she sold him and for lost wages. Clinton is countersuing for a signed title to the vehicle.
Okay, got it for me?
I do, Your Honor.
I'd like to take a look at it.
And I did it in private sale to in good condition, which is the second to the lowest rating you could put on the car.
Your Blue Book value, Kelley Blue Book official guide. Could I see yours, Bird? 1999 Ford. What kind of car was yours?
A Ford Expedition. It was an XLT model.
Ford Expedition. Well, you know, they have an auction, very good, $825 to $950 if you bought it at auction. But then the retail value is $25.75. She's absolutely right. Got it? Okay, now you can take this down.
Thank you.
$25.75. Okay, she says she sold it to you for $1,800. You gave her $1,000 down. You were supposed to pay off the rest in 8 payments. You made 2 payments. That's what she says. Her story's beginning to look a lot better. It was beginning to look lousy in the beginning of this case. Now it's beginning to look a lot better. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let's you and I not play with each other.
Right.
Good?
Good.
So you paid her $200 of the $800 that you owed her, and then you stopped paying. You want to tell me why?
Yes, Your Honor. The four-wheel drive was inoperable.
The what?
The four.
So you stopped paying her. You paid her $200. You were driving the car. You paid her $200 over several months, correct?
Well, I paid her the $200 for the taxes and transfer, but it wasn't toward the vehicle.
Yes, it was. What do you pay her taxes and transfer? You don't pay her taxes. She's not transferring it. You're transferring it. Pay your own taxes and transfer. Now, you paid her the $1,000 on what date, Mr. Duncan?
On or around March 22nd.
Is that the day you picked up the car?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that the day she gave you the title?
Yes, Your Honor.
And she trusted you to make the payments?
I didn't make a payment. I think I gave it to her then. I think.
You what?
I paid it to her then. I'm pretty sure.
Through what?
I don't have the dates.
You think, I have a little bit of a hearing problem. You're muttering. Do you think that between the two of these we're not going to get to the bottom of this?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Do you not recall that either?
No, Your Honor.
Unless I get the truth from you, you're not going to get a signed over title. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
I hope you have a nice bathroom where you can wallpaper that thing. You want to start again?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Devin Calitri says Clinton Duncan owes for a Ford Expedition she sold him and for lost wages. Clinton is countersuing.
Started to have mechanical problems with the car, so you stopped paying her.
Well, it had mechanical problems when I took possession of it.
Who cares? That's your problem. When did he make his first payment?
He made his first payment on May the 10th of 2016. He paid $100 in cash to actually our mutual friend that had arranged the sale of the car.
He paid
$100 cash.
Who did he give the cash to?
Our mutual friend, Kevin.
Name?
Kevin.
Kevin what? You know Kevin? Because somebody has his phone number. It's very easy to figure out. You know Kevin?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that the mutual friend through whom you found out she was selling the car?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you give Kevin $100 on or about May 10th to give her? That's very easy. I call Kevin. Did you give Kevin $100?
Not that I recall, Your Honor. I don't have
Now,
any
that's better. Not that I recall is better. Now, do you not recall another $100 payment?
No, Your Honor.
When was the next payment?
June the 15th of 2016, he gave Kevin a $100 Visa gift card to give to me.
Do you not recall that either?
No, Your Honor.
Don't recall it. You know, unless I get the truth from you, you're not going to get a signed over title. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You want to start again?
I assumed that we were done when the title was signed over to me, and that was it.
Well, you have a counterclaim. You want her to sign the title over to you correctly.
Yes, Your Honor.
I can either order her or I can not order her to do that. Do you understand?
Yes.
Visa on June 15th.
No, Your Honor. I do.
No. Well, I hope you have a nice bathroom where you can wallpaper that thing. Was that the last payment that you got from him?
Yes, Your Honor. And I do have text messages of him promising to send future payments that never arrived.
I'd like to see them.
I can tell you the date that the messages were on. On April the 20th, I asked him if he's filed the title, and he said he had not had time, and he requests my address because he's going to send a payment to me. On 4/28, I followed up with him and asked him if he'd mailed anything to me yet because I had not received anything.
See, this is the problem.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
You're entitled to your money. You're entitled to your $600. Unless you sign the title over properly, you're going to remain liable for this car. You don't want to do that, right?
I do not, Your Honor.
So my suggestion is that you sign the title over to him, give the title to Bird, and he's not going to get the title back until there's proof that he is registering the car. Do you understand?
I do, Your Honor.
Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Because now this has been going on for quite some time. When, for the first time, did you go and try to register the car?
I'm not 100% sure of the date, but when I went down there, I couldn't get it transferred.
I don't care. You picked up the car on the 22nd of March. On what date did you go down to the DMV? And that would be the date that you would contact her and say, I can't register this car.
We met each other down there, Your Honor.
And
something happened. We couldn't get it done that day, so then it was mailed to me and not completely filled out, and I couldn't transfer it then either, so it needed more signatures.
Whose signature? Hers?
Yes.
Okay. I would sign over the title to him.
I have no problem doing that, Your Honor.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $600.
Your Honor, wait, I did have a claim also for...
I know, you had a claim for your time.
I do, and Your Honor, the defendant lives almost 4 hours away from me, and I had received word from a mutual friend that he was not in town on weekends, so I had to take 2 days off work to go there to repossess the
I'm not
vehicle.
giving you any more money. $600 is what he owes you. Sign the title in the right place. We're done.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
To do.
I've got a $3,000 estimate for the four-wheel drive to be repaired, and that's the main reason I bought the vehicle.
I just feel bad. I tried to help a friend out, and he let me down.
She lives 4 or 5 hours away from me, and
I actually had the car inspected before I sold it, and I had a full mechanical write-up of it.
I just went on her word. Probably not the best decision in the world.
Because I hadn't decided if I wanted to get rid of the car or purchase a new car myself.
Get them inspected first.
Cash up front.
Patient presents to the emergency room tonight for a burn. Patient is on PCP. You are so high on drugs that you were in an altered state.
Did substance abuse cloud her memory?
It is your claim that she came into the bedroom while you were sleeping and poured boiling water on you.
Yes, correct.
I want you to tell me your story.
Judge Judy.
No, don't send me Judge Judy. I know who I am. You're lucky you're not doing 10 years.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Kylie Jones, is suing her former roommate, Octavia Camby, for medical bills resulting from an assault.
Order. All rise. Case number 279 on the calendar in the matter of Jones versus Camby.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Miss Jones, were you and Miss Camby roommates?
Yes.
From when to when?
From May to about July.
Of this year?
Of 2015.
Did you live in her apartment or did she live in yours?
No, I was living in actually Vanita's apartment, which is her sister.
So you were living in Vanita's apartment, then you moved in with them?
No, that's my sister, and I was living there.
So it's her apartment, the two of you were living together, and you moved in?
Yes.
As a roommate? Okay. And it is your claim that she came into the bedroom while you were sleeping and poured boiling water on you?
Yes, correct.
Do you have a police report?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at it. So this indicates that officers responded to the scene, that burns were caused by hot water that Miss Camby had allegedly thrown at Miss Jones. It seems that all three females had been smoking dust for most of the night. It is unclear what had occurred in the apartment because the females were too high on dust to speak. In any case, Joan was transported to St. Francis Hospital. So is doing drugs that night?
No, Your Honor,
Well,
it's not.
Is there any reason why you think that this officer would write this?
Yeah, the officer is a Fugazi officer.
Is a what?
Fugazi officer.
This is Hartford Police Department.
Yeah. He's Fugazi.
What does that mean?
That means he's fake. Why would she not be arrested for this, Your Honor?
The person who filled out this form is a police officer in the Hartford Police Department. He's not a fake. Now, you have your medical records?
Yes, I
the
do.
13th? I'd like to take a look at them, including the admission records. And then I'll get the story, both of the stories. Okay, listen, you admitted to the doctor who admitted you to the hospital that all of you were smoking PCP that night. You said a young female evaluated as a core trauma. Patient states she smoked PCP with a friend this evening. Friend later accused her of stealing her laptop. Patient was sleeping without wearing any clothes and reports friend dumped a pot of boiling water on her gown. Patient reports PCP and marijuana today. That's what you told the doctor.
No, that's not what I told the
So
doctor.
you mean the police officer got it wrong and the doctor who admitted you to the hospital got it wrong? So both?
Your
So
Honor.
there's a fake police officer. I'm not suggesting that this incident didn't happen.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out what happened that night.
Well, Your Honor, I would like to tell you what happened.
What?
I would like to tell you what happened.
First, I have to make myself clear that you had a head to even remember what happened.
Okay.
Did you accuse her of stealing a laptop?
She did. She stole my laptop and she stole my clothes. She was stealing from me in my sister's house.
She was stealing from you while she was living in the house, in your sister's house with you. And is that an argument that you had that evening on the 13th?
And I don't do drugs, Your Honor.
Just a second. Is that an argument that you had that evening?
That's not true, Your Honor.
Let me read to you, and I'm going to let you tell your story, but these medical records of that night are very telling to me. These are the doctors who examined you. Patient presents to the emergency room tonight for a burn. Patient is on PCP and is quite altered. She is a very unreliable historian. She reports that someone dumped a pot of boiling. Times that this occurred, she was wearing no clothes. Patient presents to the emergency room wearing a hospital Johnny. She cannot tell me why she is wearing this. Patient has sustained second-degree burns covering approximately 9% of her body surface. It involves her upper thighs and inner thighs. Her groin specifically has significant edema, blistered. Patient has been given IV fluids. Contacted the burn center. Okay. Let me tell you first, Miss Camby, that the only thing that she's consistent about in these reports, even in her altered state, is that you poured boiling water on her. Now, If she was the only one that was high in the house, I don't know. So I want, before she tells me her story, before I finish the medical records and see if your story is consistent with that, I want you to tell me, listen to me carefully, your story about what happened on July the 13th. Go.
Judge Judy.
No, don't say me Judge Judy. I know who I am.
Okay. That is totally not what happened.
Just a second. I want you to tell me what happened.
When I came home from school, she was in the house. She wasn't supposed to be there. She didn't pay my sister, and I'm like, Kylie, what are you doing in the house? You're not supposed to be here. You didn't pay my sister a portion of the rent. She was boiling water for coffee that she was drinking, and the handle was out on the stove. She was not laying down or anything.
No, don't tell me what she wasn't. I'm reading the medical records. I want you to tell me what happened. So she was boiling water on the stove.
We was in the kitchen, and then we got into the argument, and as she went to push me, the handle was sticking out from the pot of water, and the water came all down here on her.
That's not true.
Not consistent with the medical records, your story. I read what you said in the answer. But the medical records, what the doctors observed of where the injuries were on her inner thigh are totally inconsistent with this story that you just told me of water being spilled. If it's spilled, it's on the outer section of your thigh. Unless she was standing with her legs gesprayt. Totally gesprayt boiling water. Do you understand? So the story that you give me is a whole lot of who shot John. Yes, it is. It's a whole lot of who shot John. And the reason, it wasn't a fake police officer.
It was.
Because what you say is you were lying in bed naked. Medical records.
I said he was fugazi because he did not arrest her.
Listen to me. I don't know what you're on now. I don't care. I don't care. The reason that they didn't arrest her, that doesn't mean he's a fake cop, is because you were so high that night that when they asked her what happened, she gave this cockamamie story, and since they couldn't get a cogent story from you because you were so high, they said, she tells me, she's looking at me like a basset hound with those eyes that say, I'm telling you the truth. That's the way she spoke to the cop. And that's why she wasn't arrested. I don't believe her, because the cops certainly didn't look at these medical records, because the medical records are totally inconsistent with this baloney story you just told me.
She wasn't even in the apartment when the cops showed up. She had fled the scene when the cops showed up.
The reason that they didn't take you seriously is because you were so high on drugs that you were in an altered state. Do you understand?
No.
That doesn't mean she didn't do it.
Okay.
I'm telling you that the reason that the police didn't take you seriously was because you were on another planet. Do you understand? But you asked me a question. You said he's a fake cop. He's not a fake cop. He couldn't get anything from you, neither could the doctor, because according to the doctor who examined you, you were so high and in such an altered state, he couldn't get a history. The only thing that you were able to tell him was that somebody poured boiling water on you. And the medical records are totally consistent with that story. Do you understand?
Yes.
So you're partially to blame for the fact that they didn't arrest her. Do you understand? How old are you?
I'm 36.
Why don't you go into rehab?
I did.
For how long?
For about 2 months.
Didn't work. You know, you're lucky you're not doing 10 years. I'm telling you, you're lucky you're not doing 10 years. Because if somebody put this all together, and if it wasn't for the fact that they found lots of drug people on the night of the 13th, which is what you say, we were all smoking at night. I mean, every single page says, from every different doctor who examined you, it says disoriented and high on PCP, uncooperative and substance abuse, flat affect. That's why. What she did was terrible. What she did was terrible. They didn't take you seriously. And that is not an excuse for them. But part of the reason they didn't take you seriously is because you were your own. That's it. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. We're done here. Thank you.
What is our excuse? You may step out.
Because I'm scarred for life.
She was so high out of her mind, she don't even know what happened.
Well, wasn't smoking PCP that night. I was smoking marijuana. That's why I fell asleep.
She don't even remember that she bumped into the water and the water spilled on her. I did not pour any water on Kylie.
And oh my God, I'm an emotional wreck.
I love my sister always. Blood is thicker than water. I will always love my sister.
We all used it. We all used it. So, there you go.
I advise them to get off the drugs and know what the heck is going on in their lives.
We're going to stop it. We're going to try to stop the PCP use and marijuana use and everything.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Ponce versus Nunez step forward.
21-year-old Kevin Ponce is suing his ex-roommate, Ida Nunez, for the return of belongings she stole from him.
Mr. Ponce, you were looking for a roommate and put an ad on Craigslist, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Nunez needed a place to live. You have some children?
Yes, ma'am.
How many?
2.
You answered the ad and you took a room in his, is it a house, a condo?
It's not. $500 a month.
When did you move in?
July.
When did you move out?
July 15th. That's a lie.
You paid him the $500?
I did.
You moved out July 15th. You want to tell me why?
Because of marijuana and alcohol abuse in the house. That's a lie, too, Your Honor.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
If they're not going to tell me that you were there in May and June, I hate when my time is wasted.
Well, I would like to let you know that when I did leave Washington State, I moved in with my mother.
You're a fibber!
I'm a what?
Fibber!
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Kevin Ponce says ex-roommate Ida Nunez stole his belongings when she moved out.
I'll tell you what the case is about so that we understand what the case is about. You claim that when she moved out, she took property that belonged to you.
Yes, ma'am.
You know that she took property that belonged to you because she saw some of the property in her house. She said she didn't take any property that belongs to you. Tell me when she moved out.
She moved out without my knowledge.
I need a date.
Yes, ma'am. July 12th.
Now, she gave you $500. That was the month's rent for July.
I would like to say that she moved in May 13th, 2016.
May? How many times did she pay you rent?
2 times. For May and June.
Where were you living in May?
I was in Seattle, Washington.
With whom?
Samantha Merritt and my 2 children.
Where were you living in Seattle, Washington in May?
I was living in downtown Seattle.
Give me the address and the landlord's name.
Okay.
And number.
It's Metropolitan Park. The address is 502.
Was it your apartment or hers?
It was my apartment.
Okay, so give me the landlord's name.
Metropolitan Park Apartments.
No. It must be in your phone. This is a current thing. I want the person who you paid your rent to who's going to tell me that you were living there in May.
It's not a landlord. It's an actual apartment complex.
Well, that's all right. You have to pay rent to somebody.
Right. Metropolitan Park Apartments.
Right, but there's an office.
Yes, there is.
Great. I want the number.
I have to look it up.
That's fine.
Okay.
But don't waste my time.
I'm not.
Miss Nunez, if they're not going to tell me that you were there in May and June, I hate when my time is wasted.
Well, I would like to let you know that when I did
Just
move...
a second.
Okay.
I don't like to have my time wasted. If you were there, and all they will do is verify that you were a tenant there in May and June, then we'll move on. Then I'll know that he was telling me a fib that you moved in May.
If I may. When I did leave Washington State, I moved in with my mother.
You're a fibber!
Okay.
Yes. Okay, so you moved in May.
Okay. I have the phone number.
Well, what difference does it make? You weren't living there. I asked
liar.
you where you were living. You told me that's where you were living. When I was going to call
Prior
you,
to
said,
moving
well,
in with him?
wasn't
Yes.
really living there. I was living with my mother.
Only for a month.
What month?
June. Clearly, she's a liar, Your Honor.
I know. I know she is.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You know, I know you took his property because he never came to your job until after his property was taken. That's what that is going to show me. I mean, you're just not smart. You're not only a thief, you're not a very smart thief.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Kevin Ponce says ex-roommate Ida Nunez stole his belongings when she moved out.
Now, where did you go when you moved out July 15th?
Tampa, Florida.
And where do you live?
Right now, I live in a
No,
different...
where was she renting a room? In what state?
This is in Florida, Orlando, Florida.
Why did you move to Tampa?
Because that's my hometown. Your Honor, that's a lie, too. Okay.
Don't speak. Who did you move in with in Tampa?
Family.
Who?
My mother.
When she moved out, you claimed...
My TVs, my Xbox console, my bag full of electronics.
You have a police report?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Absolutely.
Your name's Samantha?
Yes, it is. Your Honor, may I make a comment about the move to Tampa?
No.
She's the accomplice. She's the...
Shh.
Nobody asked you.
Okay. You say she moved out on the 12th?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you at home at any time on the 12th?
No, ma'am. I left at 3 p.m. to go to work.
On the 12th? So you were at home before 3 p.m.?
Yes, ma'am. I was home. Sorry.
And when you left, you had a mattress on your bed?
Yes, ma'am.
And all of your electronics were there?
Yes.
And what time did you return from work?
I get out at 11. I got home at 11:30.
And when you got home at 11:30, is that when you found all these items missing?
Yes, ma'am.
And when did you call the police?
Right away.
And that's when they responded with this?
Yes.
Now, you didn't move in with your mother right away when you left his house, right? Because it's a far distance. I am a Floridian, so I know that it's not a commute from Tampa to Orlando. So if you were still at your job, where were you living when you left the plaintiff's apartment?
I actually wasn't.
Speak. Don't. Where were you living after you left the plaintiff's apartment?
I moved to Tampa, Florida.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
And you commuted to work?
No, I did not. I was actually laid off due to harassment.
You say that he...
I have a trespass warning.
Just a second. Listen to me.
I have a trespass.
Listen to me carefully.
Go ahead.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, you know I know you took his property. I know you took his property. There is no question in my mind that you and your girlfriend took his property because he never came to your job until after his property was taken.
Exactly.
That's what that is going to show me. I mean, you're just not smart. You're not only a thief, you're not a very smart thief. So you claim that he came to your job after you moved out and after his property was taken. And I'm asking you, if you were still at the same job, where were you living? You weren't living with your mother because your mother lives in Tampa. You lived in Orlando.
I'm telling you, I did not.
She did. She worked at Ingenuity. I called the place and talked to her.
Just a second.
Go ahead.
You say that in your answer.
Right. And he harassed me there.
I don't care whether he harassed you or not. He
immediately
wanted
get
his
out of
stuff
his
back.
apartment and
Judgment for
move.
the plaintiff in the amount of $3,600. Your counterclaim's dismissed. You're a thief.
Great.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
She was normal, but obviously at the end of the day, her true colors came out, and she's a thief.
That never happened, and I had proof that it didn't happen.
My backpack full of electronics was in her car.
My backpack?
The day after the incident happened.
He can say all he wants. He can say all my stuff is his.
Horrible. It's horrible. No one deserves to go through what I went through.
Was she able to pay her rent?
No, she could not make a monthly payments.
A single mom in a hot mess.
This person who had no cash paid for renter's insurance. And lo and behold, there was some sort of fiery smoke that damaged a whole bunch of your property.
And many burning questions remain.
With no report to a fire department? Doesn't sound right to me. This is a world-class scam.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Lisa Hankins is suing her former landlords, Shannon and Laura Lastinger, for stealing insurance money.
Order. All rise. This is case number 30 on the calendar in the matter of Hankins versus Lastinger.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Fred, would you take the child outside,
Sure.
please?
Would you come with me, please?
Miss Hankins, who is this?
Matthew Lopez. He is my witness. He is now my roommate.
He's your witness to what?
Well, to an entire month in the apartment.
What? Speak up.
He watched me in a fire damage, helped with the damage, and then also helped move me out.
What kind of premises did you rent to the plaintiff?
It's a small studio apartment that was attached to an extra building on our church property that we had remodeled just for her and her daughter.
How long do you know her?
At least 6+ years.
And when you say you remodeled a studio on church property, what do you...
Of land. So we had an extra building that we used as a garage, also for our youth, a man cave. And so there was a section that we converted into a very nice studio apartment that I had planned to make that arrangement later when we were hoping to get a groundskeeper. It came up when Lisa was needing a place to stay.
How did you know she was needing a place to stay?
She was living with her parents, and she was complaining weekly to us about the conditions and the treatment that she was getting from her stepdad.
Do you know what she was doing for a living?
Working at Family Dollar.
Do you know what she was doing there?
She started out as a cashier clerk, and since the last year or so, she was promoted to assistant manager.
When did she move into this studio that you renovated for her?
She would have moved in February of 2015.
And were you charging her rent?
Yes.
How much?
$500 a month.
Was she able to pay her rent?
No, she could not make a monthly payment, so the arrangement we had came to that when she got her tax check, she had $5,000 for 2015. So she gave the entire $5,000 and prepaid her rent for the first 10 months of the year, which allowed us to do the work to make the apartment livable. And so she gave the $5,000, we fixed it up, she moved in, she had no rent for 10 months. And then at the next year, February 2016, when she got her tax, she was to catch up what she was behind and pay as much in advance as she could for the next year.
So when did she give you the tax check?
And then again, February 2016. And she paid in cash, Your Honor.
She paid what in cash?
Her rent, when she gave the $5,000, she gave $5,000 in cash.
And she did all of this because she didn't have money. She had herself and her daughter, so she didn't have money to pay you rent. So she waited to get her tax check, and she got her tax check, and she went to some sort of a bank and got cash to give to you.
To the church.
It gets better. This person who had no cash took out renter's insurance, had no money to pay her rent, paid renter's insurance, and lo and behold, there was some sort of fiery smoke that damaged a whole bunch of your property. And I want you to tell me when this fiery smoke was.
Well, I report...
Just a second.
Oh, go ahead.
Month and year.
It would have been, it was reported to insurance December 15th of 2016.
Is when there was a fire. That's when your $5,000 rent ran out that you had prepaid the February before. So then you were up to January, right? And then you would have to have paid another $5,000, right? Every February, $5,000 in cash when she got her tax refund. Is that right?
Correct.
Now, what I would like to see is when you first took out and paid for renter's insurance, month and year. Don't look confused. It's a very simple question. I want to see when you took out the rent insurance policy, because somebody has renter's insurance and you've lived there for a couple of years, you would have taken the renter's insurance out for several years, right? So now I want to see the policy when it started.
Well, okay, now I do not have the starting date of...
Oh, well, we're going to get that.
Yes.
We're going to get the date that your policy started, the date that you applied for renter's insurance.
December.
Let's start with the year.
2016.
So you didn't have renter's insurance in 2015 when you lived there? No. You got renter's insurance in 2016.
Correct.
Right. Did you get it in the beginning of 2016 or the end of 2016?
Truly, it was... It was probably in October when I changed to insurance companies.
In October or November, right before this smoke damaged your property. Now, do you have an arson report?
And the restoration company which hired...
That's not what I'm asking you, sir. When you have a suspicious, because you don't know where it started, right?
Yes.
So you would have to call in the fire department and find out where all this started. Do you have a report?
My insurance company sent the fire inspector.
Listen to me. This is a world-class scam. If the insurance company paid you for any damage, I mean, you really have to be stupid, because I read this thing before I even looked at you folks and asked one question. I said to myself, I betcha this lady didn't have insurance until right before there was damage. That would be you.
That is correct.
Right. And here's a lady that didn't have money to pay rent. So what she did, according to this one, who was probably a co-conspirator in this whole thing, is she paid him in cash, allegedly, from her income tax return. So she's paid up for 2015. She's paid up for 2016. But in February of 2017, she has to give him another $5,000 or start paying rent. So you know what happened? She took out renter's insurance a month before she had thousands of dollars worth of smoke damage to her property. Doesn't sound right to me. So we're going to find out exactly when you took out the renter's insurance. And I would like to see the reports that you filed with the insurance company.
Okay, I have all of these.
And how much money did you get?
There was 2 claims. The church has a policy that covers all of our property and our buildings. And so
but you didn't have any damage to the church.
Yes, ma'am.
Where?
The way the insurance company broke it up was her renters covered her furniture, her appliances, her dishes, her clothes, the structure policy.
And with no, just a second, with no report to a fire department? She had all that damage, and what did the church suffer? Sir, in what location did the church suffer damage?
In that location, that apartment.
Just a second. Only in her apartment?
Correct.
Not any place else?
Correct.
Yeah, good. Do me a favor. Go fight with each other someplace else. Not here. I don't believe it. I don't buy it. I think it's a huge scam.
Amen.
I'm not sure whether you were both involved in it, but I know the insurance company got taken for a ride, because how much money did they give you?
$12,000.
Ah! Oh. Gone. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Now I have to go and replace all my stuff, and I have...
Was for her personal items.
No, I am not thankful. I am absolutely furious.
We were just looking for things to be worked out, but God knows the truth, and so we're okay. We're happy.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of McGrew, Barberis versus Niles. Step forward.
Dennis McGrew is suing Morgan Max Niles for unauthorized use of his money.
Where's Nancy? Would you stand up, please? Mr. McGrew, you have a cabin.
He doesn't hear well. You have a cabin. This is regarding the cabin.
Are you his mate?
Yes.
Okay, well, then let me deal with you.
Okay.
Mr. McGrew has a cabin, and he wanted to remodel the cabin. The two of you decided to hire the defendant to do that. You gave him 2 credit cards, one from a fix-it shop and one from a Home Depot. You also asked him to take your son with him when he went up to the cabin. Is that correct?
Grandson.
It's a grandson?
Yes, ma'am.
So he took your grandson with not only your approval, but you thought it would be a good idea, whether you asked him or not. Okay. He went up to the cabin. The claim is that he misused the credit cards. He has a counterclaim. He said he did most of the work that was done, and you owe him for the work that he did on the cabin. What was the contract price that you made with him for doing the cabin?
I'm so glad you asked.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Is that the way you left it?
Yes, there was the reason why I left it that way, because she kicked me off the job due to the fact that I brought her grandson's girlfriend, and she despises her because she's a dictator.
I don't care about that. Does this face look like Phil's?
No.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Dennis McGrew claims Morgan Max Niles owes for unauthorized use of his money regarding the renovation of a cabin.
Just answer. I said, what's the contract price?
There was no agreement. He was to go up there and get an idea, communicate back, and give us a proposal. That never happened.
That's not true.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right to me at all.
At all.
At all, because he went up there. You gave him the credit cards in order to do that, and according to Mr. McGrew, transferred $1,700 to vendors. Well, that wasn't done with the intention of him coming back to give you a proposal. If that's the case, then you had no contract with him. Then if you gave him the credit cards, you gave him the credit cards. Whatever he spent on the credit cards was his. So let's not play cute with each other. Do you understand?
I understand, and I disagree.
Well, then, if you didn't have a contract with him, he says that the work he did for you in his counterclaim was $30 to pay him, and if you didn't have a contract, then we apply the rules of quantum merit, which means he gets what he can show me he did in the cabin. And if he was there for a week, and if he hauled loads of trash, and if he painted part of the cabin, then he's going to get paid. Do you understand?
Oh, I understand.
Great. Now, the only thing that I'm actually interested in with regard to the credit cards, because you gave him credit cards to use. Do you understand that, Mr. McGrew? You gave him credit cards to use.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. But there is an allegation here, Mr. Niles, that you bought merchandise at Home Depot. You returned that merchandise, and instead of crediting it back to the Home Depot credit card, you took it in cash cards and put it in your pocket.
That is not true, Your Honor.
Did you return merchandise to Home Depot?
Yes, I did.
Did you have them credit the credit card?
Yes, I did.
Great.
That's the only way to get credit. Back on the card that you purchased the items with. Fine. Went right back on the card.
So now that's what I'm interested in with the credit card. So now you show me where he returned the items, which he said he did, and got cash cards for it instead of putting it back on your credit card.
Can I share with you?
No, what you could do is show me exactly what I asked for, which is proof that he returned items to Home Depot, and instead of getting credit, I will assume that he put them in his pocket. Do you have that proof?
I will have to defer to Erica. She's got all the
Fine.
Erica is who? I paid $6,000 worth of bills. She's got the receipts.
Listen, I don't care. That's all I want.
We did have a contract, Your Honor.
No, we did not.
There's a written contract with the Do It Center with the credit card for the use of it.
Would you please just show me what I asked you for?
Yes.
And let's do it quickly. All I want to see is where he returned items to Home Depot and got cash cards.
There is none because I didn't do that.
Just a second. If she doesn't have it, she doesn't have it.
Yes.
There's one of them.
Or did you have her circle what she wants me to look at there?
Some of the returns right there.
The returns and credit
it's
card.
got the credit. It's the credit card with the credit.
With
the credit. But it says, if you look at it, it says payment reversals. They gave the payment back, but it didn't go to the card.
Can I see what she's talking about? I actually don't see what you're talking about here. So far, I haven't seen anything that suggests that he returned items and got, in effect, cash for it.
It was the Do It.
Says he charged several purchases on the Home Depot card, immediately returned them, and was given the return balance on a gift card instead of having the balance go back on the credit card. That's all I want to see proof of.
I don't
have that. Fine.
No, what you're saying is that's not what we submitted. It was the Do It Center we had a contract with.
It's not happening for you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
They have no proof that what you did was return items and pocket the cash.
He spent $5,000 on groceries and gas and tools, etc., etc.
I don't care.
I know you don't care, but I said it.
I don't.
I got it out.
Care.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Dennis McGrew claims Morgan Max Niles owes for unauthorized use of his money regarding the renovation of a cabin.
Yeah, you have an awful lot of paperwork there. It's not happening for you. Can I see photographs of the cabin inside now?
She has photos. I have no photographs.
Why not?
The work I did. Well, I took pictures, but I don't know why they didn't come through on my telephone.
I'm going to say to you what I said to them.
I do have a witness that has and was there that's seen the work.
Just a second. I don't want a witness that's going to describe it to me. I witness have photographs.
No.
Okay, then I'm not interested. What's wrong with these pictures?
There's a couple of pictures after we finished it, or we did the work.
No,
and there's
what
a
I
couple
want
of
to
pictures
see,
prior.
What I want to see is the work that you're complaining about that he didn't finish.
Right here.
There it is. He didn't do that.
Let me see.
We did that. I don't have pictures of anything he did. I only have pictures of the way
it was left.
We found it.
When you went back up there?
Yeah. Correct.
Yes.
After he left there with your grandson?
Correct. And a couple of those pictures is the work that we're doing.
Shh. Is that the way you left it?
Yes, there was the reason why I left it that way, because she kicked me off the job due to the fact that I had somebody up there, brought somebody up with her grandson's girlfriend, and she despises her because she's a dictator, and she wants to tell you who could be around and whatnot.
I don't care about that. Does this face look like Phil's?
No.
I don't care about that.
But that's why...
I don't care about that.
That's why it was left.
You don't have any proof for me of what work you did in the cabin to support your counterclaim for $3,500.
The only proof I have is a witness that was there with me doing the work.
You mean you're talking about her grandson?
Yes.
Who she sent there because, allegedly, according to you, he had a drug problem.
Yes.
And he thought it would be good for him.
Yes.
Right. Me.
Yes.
And you said okay.
Yes.
Well, and how old is he?
He's 23.
You don't get paid for that. You don't get paid for this, sir.
Yeah,
because according to your counterclaim.
I understand that, but the pile was 3 times as big as that.
According to your counterclaim,
I took 6 loads to the dump.
According to your you took what?
6 loads to the dump. And those were loads going to the dump also.
The cabin's 800 square feet.
Yeah, the outside, the backyard, the side yard, the front yard.
All I want to know from you, Mr. Niles, is they have no case because they have no proof that what you did was return items and pocket the cash. You said deal with her. I was dealing with her.
Oh, that's only on the return items. He spent $5,000 on groceries and gas and handyman stuff and tools, etc., etc.
And I gave her all the receipts.
My
everything
Citibank
that I
card
spent her money
was $1,861, not counting the $17 cash because you can't use credit in Big Bear, and $2,125 for Home Depot.
I don't care.
I know you don't care, but I said it.
I don't.
I got it out.
I don't care.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like it.
All I care about is when you give somebody a credit card and say, here's the credit card from Home Depot. You don't have a credit limit. You don't tell them what to do. You say, go and get what you need, do what you need. And he does it. That's your problem.
But if you say to me many times before, and I gave him credit cards, he gave me a proposal, and he was going to go up there in case we come to an agreement, either I sell the property or we agree that you fix it. He was going to these places to get estimates to put the proposal together.
We're done unless you can show me where he returned merchandise and pocketed the cash. Can you do that?
I cannot do that.
Then we're done. Thank you.
What about my countersuit on this?
Did you see a picture of what you left?
No, I didn't have any pictures. But the work was done.
Bird.
I have a witness.
Picture.
Okay.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
He just went hog wild with my credit card.
She is senile.
Yeah, I kept getting these phone calls and these alerts saying, my goodness, somebody's on a spending spree.
She gave me her cards to go do a job. I've been her carpenter for a year and a half or so.
$5,000 worth of theft.
Everything's all good.
On the car.
I knew I owed to the son.
Right.
This repo man was just doing his job.
He had authorization to take your car.
He never identified who he was.
The side of his truck says Northwest Recovery.
But he had more than the car in tow.
He stood on the running board. I put the vehicle on drive. And he grabbed onto the steering wheel, and then we had smacked into a car.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Tommy Burns is suing tow truck driver Edward Kimball for vandalism to his car and false charges of assault.
Order. All rise. Yeah, it's case number 318 on the calendar in the matter of Burns versus Kimball. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Mr. Burns, this is your complaint. You had purchased a car.
Yes.
You were behind in the payments.
Yes.
Mr. Kimball owns a tow truck, and it is his job on behalf of lending institutions to repossess property that has not been paid for. So your car was parked either on the street or in your house.
Yes, in front of my house.
And this was September 25th last year. Neighbor came to your car, you got outside, and you saw Mr. Kimball in his tow truck down the street with your car attached.
No.
Tell me where you saw his car.
I observed Mr. Kimball at the end, like a block away on the passenger side of my car, removing items. At the same time, I was talking to the police when the neighbor had came and got me. I live in a high-crime neighborhood area, and first thing she said, it's a black tow truck, and they took your car and went and rode off.
So the car was attached to the tow truck?
Yes.
That's what I said.
Yes.
Now, at the time, you knew that you were behind in payments on the car.
Actually, I had spoken with the guy who...
At the time, you were behind in payments on the car. You acknowledge it.
Yes, I knew I owed something.
Right. So, an intelligent man would know that if you were behind in payments on the car, they may come and get it. Not definitely, but they may come and get it. Well, that was what he was hired for. Who hired you to do this job?
Northwest Repossession.
Do you know who hired Northwest Repossession?
The company would be Quality Auto Sales.
Did you buy your car at Quality Auto Sales?
Yes.
Well, they're the people that hired his company to get their property back. So tell me what you did.
Okay, when I observed Mr. Kimball at the end of the block removing items, I caught him on the passenger side of my car. At the same time, I was talking to 911, spoke to the person who I previously bought the car from, and everything was fine.
I don't believe that, and you don't have that person here.
Okay.
Okay, because the person that you bought the car from hired his company to repossess your car.
Okay, at the same time...
Okay. So now, just tell me what you did.
Okay, I talked to the police. I asked him who was he. He never identified who he was.
Just a second. I want to know what you did. You ran to the end of the block where he was.
No, we drove to the end of the block, and I observed him.
Who drove?
My wife did.
So your wife drove in her car?
Yes.
To the end of the block, and then what did you do?
I was on the phone with 911, and I told them that I see the guy right there.
Just a second. I didn't ask you what you told anybody.
Okay, I didn't do anything. I approached him and asked him who was he.
Just a second. So you approached him?
Yes.
Where was he when you approached him?
The passenger side of the car.
And what did he say to you?
He didn't say anything. He just got up and ran around to the driver's side of the tow truck. And by me living in a high-crime neighborhood area, if he would have told me who he was, the situation would have been ended. He didn't identify himself or who he was or who had sent him. It's normally known in my neighborhood. I just live in Chicago. High crime area, and they known for taking cars on tow trucks and driving off. You never find your car again. I asked him who was he. He never identified himself in a professional. He tried to run around and jump in the car. When he jumped in the tow truck, he tried to close the door, and I'm like, he never identified. I'm like, who are you? I'm steady asking him, who is he? He never said anything. So I'm telling the police, next thing I know, he put the truck in drive and almost hit me with the tow truck, so I had to grab on to the handle. It's a safety bar on the side of the tow truck when he drove off like in a high rate of speed. So I wasn't finna let him get out of my sight because he never identified himself. I feel if he would have identified himself...
I know that you said that already. What I'm hearing is, and reading...
Yes.
...that you wrote, you jumped on the sideboard.
Yes.
Okay, you jumped on the sideboard and held onto the sideboard.
Yes.
And he was driving off.
Yes.
At a high rate of speed.
Yes.
And then what happened?
He veered on the south side of the street, crashing into some parked cars with me stuck in between the doors.
Now you tell me your version, because we'll get to what the lawsuit is about, because he filed charges against you for assault.
Yes.
You say that they were false. Now he's going to tell me his version of the events. Go.
Hi, Your Honor.
Okay, you were hired, that's your job, to repossess property that hasn't been paid for.
Correct.
You got an order to pick up his car.
Correct.
Start from there.
Okay, so I picked the vehicle up, Your Honor. About 7 blocks away, I secured the vehicle.
How many blocks away from his house?
About 7 blocks. Mr. Burns came up to me, and he was very defensive.
Don't tell me what you thought about his posture.
Okay, he asked me, what were you doing? What are you doing?
And what did you say?
I said, sir, your car's up for repossession. He said, the car's not up for repossession. He got aggressive, started coming towards me. I backed up. I kept backing up, and I went in my truck. He said, put the vehicle down before I beat your, excuse my language. I told him I can't put the vehicle down until I close the door. He did not want to hear that. He stood on the running board. I put the vehicle on drive because it was already secure. I started driving at a slow speed. He had grabbed onto the steering wheel, and then we had smacked into a car. Prior to this, before he had jumped on a running board, he hit me in my side about 2 or 3 times.
Where was he when he hit you in your side?
He's standing on the running board of the truck.
Okay, so he's standing on the running board of the truck, and you're inside the truck.
Correct, I'm sitting.
And he's standing on the running board.
Correct.
And how did he hit you?
He punched me to the side, so like in my ribs. So if I'm sitting here right now, and he's standing right here, he would hit me in my side.
Where was the car that he drove up in?
I have no idea, Your Honor.
You didn't see a car?
Well, he was parked in the street in the city streets, so every car is parallel parking. There's tons of...
From his house, he said his wife drove him to where you were.
Okay.
Did you see her?
When he approached, there was a female in the car, yes.
Did you see what she was doing as this was going on?
She was just...
What do you have to do to secure the vehicle?
You have to put a safety chain on the vehicle, so the vehicle, when you drive away, it doesn't fall off.
Okay.
So for safety
But you
features,
did, in fact, drive it away a certain...
Yes.
You said a few blocks.
Correct.
How was it attached to the tow truck then?
Well, because when you pick the vehicle up, it has claws, a mechanism that sits where the tires are. So it sits on the tow truck. You can continue to drive away, but you go to a certain distance to secure it. This way, when you're on the highway or something, you know, if the car, if it was to fall off, it's not going to hit somebody or et cetera.
Okay. So then you stopped, when you felt it was safe, you stopped to secure it.
Correct.
Do you have a police report?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at it. And do you have the work order to pick up the car?
Yes, I do.
I'd also like to take a look at that. Do you have any other police report?
No, this is all they gave me, ma'am.
Do you have any police report?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see it.
Your Honor, may I say something?
Yes.
Upon the accident, when the police arrived on the scene, I left in the ambulance because I was injured. And when I got there, they signed me out. That's what the officer said. Not the police officer, but the sergeant. Because the other officers was like, man, we didn't even have time for this. You know, you should have left the scene. That's what the black officers, they was just saying all type of observed.
Just a second. Don't tell me what anybody said to you,
Okay.
Mr. Burns.
Okay.
You were wrong.
No.
You were wrong.
No,
He
ma'am.
had authorization to take, just pay attention.
Okay.
He had authorization to take your car. You had no business. You had no business to get on the running board of his truck to endanger him, other people that may be out there. I know you're shaking your head no. I know you're shaking your head no. Bottom line is, he had the right to have possession of your car. That's what this order says. He had the right to have possession of your car. You had no right to take control of his car by getting on the running board. And because you did that, you caused an accident.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
If someone took your car...
Are you asking me what I would do? Would I say to my husband, jump in the car, we're going to go confront this thief? Would I say that? Not on a good day, not if I took my meds.
And later today...
How much of a deposit did she give to you?
She initially sent $200 in our deposit, so we received a deposit
Would you just tell me?
$500 in 2 separate checks.
I don't care whether it was,
All right.
she sent it to you in wampum.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Tommy Burns says tow truck driver Edward Kimball vandalized his car during repossession and falsely charged him with assault. Edward is countersuing for lost wages and pain and suffering.
Now, he had a lawful order to take possession of your car. You did not have any right to get on his tow truck. You had no right to do that. And when you did it, whether he was injured, whether he was punched, is relevant. But you caused a situation that endangered not only his life, but yours or other people in the street, because what happened was you crashed. And you crashed because of your actions.
No, ma'am.
Oh, well, I say yes, you say no. I'm telling you, that's the law. You had no right to put your feet on the running board of his truck in an attempt to stop him. You had no right to do that. He had a right to take your car, and you had no right to try to...
Your Honor, can I say something? If the guy would have identified where he came from, or let me know who he was. I live in a high crime neighborhood. If someone's taking your car,
you keep saying that.
Can I just say this? If someone took your car, and then you see them a block away from your home, and you saying, what
are you asking me? Are you asking me what I would do? Would I say to my husband,
the police.
jump in the car, we're going to go confront this thief? Yeah. Would I say that?
Oh,
no. Not on a good day, not if I took my meds. No, you're on the phone with the police. You say, there's a black tow truck that just took my car. Here's my car's license plate. Here's the license plate number of the truck that just took my car. And you let the police do their job. But the bottom line is you can say whatever you want. He had a right to take your car, and you had no right to get on his. And you caused an accident, and you don't get rewarded for that. Were you treated for any injuries?
No, Your Honor.
Do you have pictures of the accident?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at them.
Also, may I just add one more thing? I was never given an accident report or put in the accident. They never said I caused the accident or anything.
I just told you you caused an accident. You got the ultimate person to tell you that you caused the accident. The side of his truck says Northwest Recovery, Inc. What do you think that means?
I didn't know what
With his license number.
I didn't know what it meant because I wasn't.
Well, let's think of what you know. You know you missed payments. You know what the word recovery means. They're coming to recover their property.
Yes, but if I would have got a letter saying that it was anything, I never received anything saying I was behind.
It's somebody else's fault. Mr. Burns, you have no case. Your case is dismissed, sir. You have no proof that any injuries that you allegedly sustained, but you weren't treated for, caused you to miss work?
Yeah.
No, it was court cases, Your Honor. It went to court, and it was continued and continued and continued due to missing...
You have to show me that you weren't paid for those. Weren't you paid for those days you went to court?
No, I was not.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
You have proof that you weren't paid?
No.
We're done here. We're done.
Yeah, parties are excused. You step out.
If he would have identified himself, it wouldn't even led to that, man.
He knew exactly what I was doing.
Man, I thought he was going to kill me.
No, I mean, how do you identify yourself? I mean, I'm in a tow truck. A tow truck says recovery.
Man, I wasn't notified.
No, just pay your bills. We won't have to do it.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of St. John versus Stewart, step forward.
Darlene St. John is suing Jan Stewart for the return of her deposit for a Piradoodle puppy.
Pure Doodles.
What are they?
Standard Poodle and Great Pyrenees.
When did you take a deposit on a puppy from Miss St. John?
In February of this year.
And you took a deposit for a puppy that at that time was not born?
Yes, we entered into a verbal agreement.
Just a second. You took a deposit on a puppy that was yet to be born?
Your Honor, yes, that's true.
And the gestation period on your dog is 63 days. Is that correct?
Gestation is typically 65 to 68 days.
And you took the deposit in February?
Yes.
Just answer my questions. I know exactly where I'm going.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You have to give her money back.
Well, I'm not going to do that.
Oh, yeah, you have to give her. That's why we're here. That's why we're here.
I told her there are no refunds, and
well,
she will
that's
get
too
a
bad.
puppy.
I don't care what you told her. Then you're a scammer.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Darlene St. John is suing Jan Stewart for the return of her deposit for a Piradoodle puppy.
Now, you took a deposit to hold a puppy.
Yes.
So let's say you tried to breed your dog in February. February, you would have had a litter.
That's true.
You didn't.
We did not.
Then if you tried to breed her again sometime.
I would like to clarify that we have two moms.
Just a second. She picked one. You discussed with her, and she discussed with you, having a puppy from a particular dog, whose name is?
Song.
Song.
No, I guarantee a puppy. I never guarantee
then
from a particular litter.
Listen, I bought puppies from breeders. I select the mother. I select the stud. I give a deposit. That usually, it sometimes takes up to 3 months. But no breeder says, I have many dogs, so you want to be on a wait list, you have to give me a deposit And sometimes it can take 65 days, and sometimes it can take 365 days. In your case, it's closer now to 365 days.
For that mother.
So unless...
And I do want her to have a puppy from the mother she wants to have it from.
Well, that's... Just a second. That's the one she selected. She selected Song. I assume you saw them on the internet?
Yes, ma'am.
And that was your arrangement. Now, how much of a deposit did she give to you?
She initially sent $200. And our deposits are $400. So then she sent, instead of sending another $200, she sent $300. So we received a deposit totally of $500.
You received a $500. She sent it to you in wampum. You have $500 of her money. Is Song expecting?
Yes.
When?
She will be delivering in about a month.
I don't
believe you. So she's about
you.
halfway through.
I don't, unless you can prove that to me, then I'm telling you I don't believe you. Then you gave me the answer that you prove that to me.
I don't believe I can. I have pictures of her previous litters.
No, I don't care about her previous litters. I care about a vet statement, an x-ray showing that she is actually carrying a litter of puppies because she's got a $500 deposit with you. And so far she's been waiting 9 months. And that's an outrageous amount of time. Because you're not out any money. You're not out any money. You didn't promise these puppies to anybody else. As far as I know, you take deposits of $500 from people and hold their money and say, eventually you'll get a puppy. It could be this year, it could be next year, it could be 20 years from now. I take your deposit, you don't get a refund on your deposit, and we have February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, 10 months later. There's still no life in being, still no puppy in being. So you have to give her her money back.
Well, I'm not going to do that.
You have to give her. That's why we're here. That's why we're here.
That's told her there are no refunds, and
well,
she will
that's
get
too
a puppy.
bad. I don't care what you told her. Then you're
She gets a puppy.
Then you are a scammer.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, what happens if Song, who you've tried to breed now for 10 months, you've tried to breed, and right now you can't prove to me that she's pregnant. You've tried to breed. What happens if she, unfortunately, can't become pregnant anymore? You telling me you keep the deposit and you're out of luck?
She will have a puppy.
That's not what I asked you. She chose Song. She chose a puppy from that litter. And right now, as far as I know, and you have no proof to the contrary, she's waited 10 months, and as far as I know, Song can't have any more puppies. Maybe she developed a blocked something that she can't have any more puppies, which suggests to me that if we follow your way of thinking, she gave me a deposit, it's non-refundable. I was hoping to give her a puppy. Unfortunately, Song couldn't have any puppies. So I have her money, and she gets nothing. Well, that's ridiculous.
There was no
not good
guaranteed
business.
time frame.
It's not good business. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $500. We're done.
Excuse, you may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Some get clever.
What's the story? I'm sticking to it.
Liar, liar, pants on fire.
Others get hostile.
I'm going to tell you what happened.
Judge Judy gets the last word.
They don't keep me here because I'm gorgeous. They keep me here because I'm smart.
There was no time frame discussed.
I kind of knew in May I was getting scammed.
Everyone's very happy, and some people have waited some time for the right puppy.
I have MS, and I needed a service dog.
She never mentioned anything about a service dog, and then she brought that in.
If you're going to get a dog and you need a dog, especially service dogs, do your homework.
You may love them, she doesn't.
4 little pigs create one big mess.
Her pigs come in and destroy your garden, your property.
But her neighbor says, in a pig's eye.
Your defense is that somebody else's pigs did it.
Yeah, they were not mine. Mine are panned. I have police reports also where she admits they're hers.
She says that they bite, they're annoying. Don't smile. Smiling is stupid and irresponsible.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Laura Taylor is suing her neighbor, Kelly Broniker, for destruction of her property caused by Kelly's pigs.
Yeah, it's case number 331 on the calendar, the matter of Taylor versus Broniker.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Have a seat.
Ms. Taylor, you and the defendant are neighbors.
Yes, ma'am.
And you live in a rural kind of community.
Yes, ma'am.
And it is your claim that the defendant has pigs.
Yes.
Big pigs or little pigs?
I think they were supposed to be small pigs, but they ended up big. They weigh at least 100 pounds, if not more each.
You have pigs?
Yes, I do.
How many?
4.
And did you buy them as small as?
2 of them, yes. 2 others we have rescued from other people that no longer wanted them, and we took them in.
And they weigh about 100 pounds?
Absolutely not.
How much they weigh?
30 pounds for the smaller ones, and maybe the larger one 50. Your Honor, I have pictures if you'd like to see.
I would. So you have 4. You said the smaller one is 30 and one is 50. Well, that's 2 pigs. And the others?
I said the larger one's around 50. Two
larger ones are 50, and the smaller ones?
Around 30.
So somebody bought them as little tiny pot-bellied pigs, little tiny things, and they grew to be 50 pounds. They said, we didn't bargain for this.
Absolutely, that happens a lot.
Yeah, so you have 4, and it is your claim that her pigs come in and destroyed your garden, your property, and whatever.
Yes, ma'am.
And she says it was somebody else's pigs. That's your response.
Absolutely.
So it was somebody
They were
else's
not.
to be 300 pounds. So even a 30-pound pig or a 50-pound pig is a relatively small pig.
Yes.
Now, you live in a rural community. How long have you lived there?
16 years.
Give me the names of anybody within a 3-mile radius to where you live that keeps small pigs, 30 pounds. Give me a name.
I don't know any other people
who
by
keep
name.
Small. Well, that would be unfortunate. If you've lived there for 16 years and you're in the business of rescuing pigs and keeping these small pigs, you would know other people who had small pigs. Now, there may be people who had big pigs, you know, who cute. But you would know anybody else who had small pigs, because I see, I'm smart. I see there's a video that I'm going to be shown, and I would assume it's not your video.
No, it's not.
So I would assume a video of relatively small pigs, not big pigs, but relatively small pigs on her property.
Okay.
Your defense is that somebody else's pigs did it.
Yeah, they were not mine. Mine are pinned.
Okay, very good. I'm ready to see the video.
Wonderful.
When was this video taken, Miss Taylor?
It was actually taken on several dates. Her pigs were on my property. This has been an ongoing issue. A couple of dates, incidences where the pigs were in my yard and playground area. These are the pigs in my playground area.
They're now destroying my playground. Oh, look, that one's getting up the liner and eating my mulch. That one's rooting over here, destroying my playground.
Well, I see them in relation to the chair, so they're small pigs.
October 21st, here are 4 of Kelly Broniker's pigs in my yard yet again.
Well, they're the same
eaten my
pigs.
flowers,
Yes,
and now they're
ma'am.
eating my grass, and they bite. If you can't see where they've dug up my yard, let me see if I can zoom in. You see all that? That's where these big pigs are destroying my property. This is the 4th time I've had to call the police, and the 7th time I've asked Kelly Broniker to please take care of her animals that bite. Tonight's our Halloween party. Do you see any kids outside playing? No, because I have pigs in my yard that bite.
I was a bit upset.
I got it. Okay. What do you want?
I have pictures of my pigs that I own, and she has not contacted.
Just a second, you own.
I can actually show you.
Just a second. I would like to see a picture of the pigs that she owns. No. This is when you got the pig. No. I want to see them now. That's not what they are.
I just wanted to show you.
No. You want to show me. You want to show me what they look like now. Don't show me when they look like when you bought them.
There is another. There's pictures of large pigs in there as an adult.
I don't want to see large pigs. I want to see the picture of your pigs now.
Excuse me. There is one in there.
Oh, well, that's absolutely one of the pigs that was on her property.
I don't think so.
Oh, I think so. I think so. Oh, I think so. I think so. Okay. Now, may I see any bills that you have with regard to regard to the damage that was done by her pigs?
I have 2 estimates, actually. One for the price of sodding my yard, which is more expensive, and then one just for seeding.
I'm going to suggest, Ms. Broniker, I'm going to suggest that if you want to keep these animals, that you put a very safe pen from which they cannot escape. because they're annoying. You may love them. She doesn't. She says that they bite. They're annoying. They've ripped up her property. Don't smile. I mean, smiling is stupid and irresponsible.
Ma'am, I have police reports also where she admits they're hers.
When the police... I got it. So I got it. You don't have animal control.
They have gotten, I think, 24 citations, and then they also have health department citations. It's in the police report.
May I see it, please?
Yes, ma'am. For the pigs biting my neighbor, which is why my kids can't play.
May I see it, please?
Sure.
I would
mean,
like
if
to
you're
respond
if you're smiling...
No, I would like to respond.
Go ahead.
One, our pigs are penned. They do not bite, and I did show a picture of the pigs with children so that you can see that they are safe around children. They do not bite, and they are penned. She did call the police. She never contacted me.
Listen to me carefully. Those were your little pigs in her backyard.
I respectfully disagree with that.
Well, that's why we're here.
Yes, ma'am.
She did not contact
Don't speak
me
now.
7
Now I'm
times.
reading. Who's Kathy?
She's my neighbor also.
So she also complained?
Yes, ma'am.
She also had damage?
Yes, ma'am. The neighbor across the street as well, which Miss Bronca and her husband are repairing themselves. I don't really want them on my property, so I refuse to do that.
In what state do you reside?
Indiana. I also have Facebook messages where Miss Bronca told me not to message
show me
her
Facebook
again.
messages.
Excellent.
You live in Indiana, right?
Yes, ma'am.
They sometimes have wild things. First of all, she says they're not her pigs.
So they're feral.
Well, just a second. Well, if they're pigs.
Yes, ma'am.
And if they're wild pigs that bite and you have children and they've been repeatedly on your property, I don't know what the law is in Indiana where you live, but perhaps you should look into it. Do you get it?
Yes,
You
ma'am.
can stand there and be smug all that you like, but right now we have you on tape and you are saying, along with your husband, that these are not your pigs.
That is correct.
Your pigs are penned, so therefore they must be wild pigs that bite. That's what she says. They're not my pigs because my pigs don't bite. I sound like a Peter Sellers movie. But do you know what people do rurally?
They keep them in pens.
No, they kill them.
Oh, ma'am.
If a wild animal comes on your property that doesn't belong to anybody, as you say, these don't belong to you.
They don't.
And they have been known to bite and to injure, aside from creating havoc on the property, the owner of that property, who has gone to the authorities and says they bite, kids can't play outside, and they're wild and not yours, may take to doing something drastic. So if you like these pigs, I would suggest that you do something to ensure that the stray pigs that are on her property aren't your pigs, because they'll end up on somebody's Thanksgiving dinner plate.
I understand.
Do you amount to $5,000? We're done here.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I don't feel like there was proof provided that those were my pigs.
I am so excited. I am so glad that Judge Judy saw through her nonsense.
Actually, all of this could have been avoided had the...
These neighbors have been so ridiculous, so I'm glad someone else sees that.
Plaintiff contacted me personally instead of calling the police.
I did. She told me not to contact her anymore, and she told me that we live in the country, and so there are no laws to govern keeping her animals penned up.
I know my pigs are penned.
I wish they were. If they were, we wouldn't be here.
They're in pens, I promise.
Thank you so much, Judge Judy. I knew you would see through her.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Crowley versus Smithies. Step forward.
Larry Crowley is suing Linda Smithies for the return of a boat trailer.
Mr. Crowley, a friend of yours had a boat, and he gave you permission to sell the boat. The boat was stored where? At your yard?
The boat was stored at a storage facility in Clackamas, Oregon on Highway 212.
And on what date did you make an agreement to sell Miss Smithies the boat?
That would have been on 7/23/16.
How did you find this boat for sale?
Mr. Crowley had a boat top for...
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, great. Okay. And you went, you saw it, and you negotiated a price, and you bought it. What was the purchase price?
Ma'am, the boat was not advertised for sale, just a boat top she came to buy from me.
But ultimately she bought the boat?
Yes.
How much was the purchase price?
The purchase price was $2,800 for the boat.
And you went, you looked at the boat?
No.
You didn't see the boat before you paid him $2,800?
I did see the boat when I bought it.
That's all I'm talking about. You went, you saw the boat when you bought it, and you asked to borrow his trailer to get the boat back to either your house or wherever you were going to take it. And you were supposed to return the trailer. That's what this case is about. That's what your complaint is. She has your trailer, the boat trailer. Miss Smithy says, you can't have the trailer back because you sold me a bad boat. So I'm not giving you the trailer back. And she has a counterclaim for you selling her a bad boat. So now I have a couple of questions for you. You ready for the questions?
I am.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
So on September the 15th, after your husband and son-in-law had been working on the boat for 2 months,
yes,
you attempted to launch it.
Yes.
And?
It sunk.
After they worked on it.
Yes.
Real cases. Really says Linda Smithies owes for the return of a boat trailer. Linda is countersuing for the fraudulent sale of a boat.
Now, you saw the boat when you bought it, and you
Yes.
asked to borrow his trailer, and you were supposed to return the trailer. And Miss Smithy says, you can't have the trailer back because you sold me a bad boat. So I'm not giving you the trailer back. So now I have a couple of questions for you. You ready for the questions?
I am.
You bought the boat on July 23rd.
On or about, yes.
I read your answer. At some point, you brought it to somebody who was going to work on the boat. What is the name of that person?
Pacific Power Boats.
I'd like to see that, what you have. On what date did you bring it to Pacific Power Boats?
11/17.
What?
11/17.
Well, what did you do with the boat between July 23rd and November 17th?
When I bought the boat, Larry had represented that it was...
Don't tell me what he represented. That's not my question to you.
Sorry?
My question to you was, what did you do with the boat between July 23rd and November 17th?
Put it in launch-ready condition.
Just a second. No. You buy the boat on 7/23.
Yes.
You borrow his trailer. Where did you take the boat to?
Home.
And did them?
Until it was launchable, or we thought it was launchable.
Who worked on the boat?
My husband and my son-in-law.
So between July 23rd and November 17th, July to August, August to September, September to October, so for 4 months, you had people, your husband, your son-in-law, I don't know who else, work on the boat at your house.
Until 9/17.
I
at
thought
which
you
point
said
we
November.
launched the boat.
Listen to me. I thought you said November 17th.
That's when I got that estimate. But that was
I don't care about
that
the
was the second set of work.
Second set of work by whom?
The first set of work was done by my husband and my son-in-law.
Fine. From when to when? Let's try to keep it together.
July 25th to September 15th.
And where did the boat go on September 15th?
We attempted to launch it.
So on September the 15th, after your husband and son-in-law had been working on the boat for 2 months,
yes,
you attempted to launch it.
Yes.
And?
It sunk.
After they worked on it?
Yes.
And then what?
We pulled it out of the water.
And then what?
And Larry had been
No. What did you do with the boat? Don't tell me Larry.
Sorry.
Tell me, what did you do with the boat? Now you bought a boat that your husband and
son-in-law... I brought the boat into storage.
Until when?
It's still there.
Well, what happened on November 17th?
I got an estimate on fixing the boat.
By a professional?
We didn't have any idea when we launched the boat that the outdrive was destroyed, that was hidden by the trailer. We had no idea that that happened. We were fixing lights and windows and things like that. So, yes.
Listen, Miss Smithies, that would not be his problem. That would be your problem.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Launching a boat is a big deal, and if somebody who knows about a boat wants to make a written representation to you that they have checked it out thoroughly, I have no reason not to believe them, and I think I should be able to believe them.
You can't. You want to believe them, that's your business. Then you end up with a boat that sinks.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Larry Crowley says Linda Smithies owes for the return of a boat trailer. Linda is countersuing for the fraudulent sale of a boat.
Well, what happened on November 17th?
I got an estimate on fixing the boat.
By a professional?
We didn't have any idea when we launched the boat that the outdrive was destroyed, that was hidden by the trailer. We were fixing lights and windows and things like that.
Miss Smithies, that would not be his problem. That would be your problem. What was the boat that you purchased?
30 years.
It's a 30-year-old boat. If I were buying a 30-year-old boat, I would have somebody come out there and look at it before I bought it from a stranger. and say, take a look at this boat and tell me whether it's worth $2,800. This 30-year-old boat, just like a 30-year-old car. I wouldn't spend $2,800 on a 30-year-old car unless I said, you know what, I want to take the car to my mechanic or have my mechanic come here, give him $200 and let him look at it. That's your problem. You bought a 30-year-old boat and you didn't exercise due diligence.
Yes, I did. I exercised due diligence because Larry represented to me that he is a boat guy. He is standing in a boat yard selling me a boat top. He knows I'm putting my own project boat together.
Don't tell me what he knows. And what I'm telling you is,
he tells me in writing he's not a salesman. He has a friend.
Listen to me carefully. That's called puffing. Unless you have a contract with him that gives you any sort of a warranty, which I will look at if you have, a 30-year-old boat that you buy, just as a 30-year-old car, you buy, and it's buyer beware. Caveat emptor, buyer beware, so that people use their noodle, say, nice 30-year-old boat, I'm taking it to a professional. This is the bill from the professional who gave you an estimate. Or can I butt over because it's not my business?
Launching a boat is a big deal. And if somebody who knows about a boat wants to make a written representation to you that they have checked it out thoroughly and it's in good running condition, I have no reason not to believe them, and I think I should be able to believe them.
You can't. Well, but telling you what the law is. You want to believe them, that's your business. Then you end up with a boat that sinks. After your husband and your son-in-law, and I don't know what they do for a living, worked on this boat for 2 months. Who knows what they did to it? Maybe your son-in-law had a bad day. He didn't like his father-in-law, took something and did something to the boat. Who knows? It's not relevant. You have his property that you refuse to return.
That is not true.
It's his trailer is his property.
I have no way to return it.
What do you mean you have no way to return it?
If I put the boat back in the water to try to put it on another trailer, it will sink.
I don't care. That's your problem. That's your problem.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, you have his property that you refuse to return.
That is not true.
It's his trailer is his property.
I have no way to in the water to try to put it on another trailer. It will sink.
I don't care. That's your problem. You borrowed his trailer to take your boat to your house.
I could have the trailer until the boat was moored.
You have to return the trailer. I'm going to give you an order that she's going to return the trailer. You take it to a marshal and have it executed. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Goodbye. Thank you. Your counterclaim's dismissed, by the way. You have no counterclaim.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I loaned it to her with the understanding that she would return the boat trailer to me. All she was going to do was go put it in the water, and she didn't do that. And it went into months. No, I like helping people out, and I'm trying to do that. And I will also help her try to get my trailer and get her boat so I can get my trailer. I'm not going to be hard to her.
The mother-in-law and the former daughter-in-law allege that the other has harassed them.
A mother's revenge on her son's ex.
She claimed I threatened to stab her in the back with a knife. It wasn't really about that. It was about my granddaughter. So I went to court to fight the visitation.
Yada, yada, yada. All ridiculousness.
Now, will this son stand up to his mom?
Pot stirrer.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Patricia Renante is suing her former daughter-in-law, Joanne Paredes, for legal bills and harassment. Joanne is countersuing, also for legal fees and harassment.
Order. All rise.
This is case number 388 on the calendar in the matter of Renante versus Paredes.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
Miss Paredes, how long were you married to the plaintiff's son?
I believe a little over a year.
When were you married?
Oh my gosh. Honestly, I don't remember. I want to say 2011. I don't remember. Sorry.
You have a child together?
Yes.
How old is the child?
She's 8.
So it would be fair to say that you lived together prior to you getting married?
Yes, we did.
Okay, so how long were you together as a couple?
Before we got married, I believe 2 years.
And when were you divorced?
Well, we finalized everything in 2015.
Is this your former husband?
Yes.
Cases, because I have complaints and a countersuit for exactly the same thing. That each of you allege, the mother-in-law and the former daughter-in-law allege that the other has harassed them, caused them to spend money for legal fees, yada, yada, yada. All ridiculousness. So, but I want to get some of the backgrounds. So you live together for a long time. You have an 8-year-old child. How many grandchildren does Miss Renante have?
Grandchildren, I believe 2.
You have this granddaughter.
Correct.
This is a granddaughter. And where is your other grandchild?
She lives in Georgia.
And you live?
Here in Southern California.
And Miss Paredes lives in Southern California?
Correct.
Right. So this is the only grandchild that's near you?
Correct.
Did you have a settlement agreement in your divorce decree, or was this a case tried with regard to custody and visitation and support?
Well, we went to court a few times, but in the end, we agreed.
Okay, what did you agree to with regard to custody?
We finally agreed to 50-50 on legal and physical custody.
And how does that work with an 8-year-old in school? Do you live close by to each other?
Kind of, maybe like 12 miles apart. As far as school, from my understanding, they're late a lot.
No, not.
So
that's not what I asked you.
Oh, okay.
How is the week divided?
Oh, I see. It's 1 week on, 1 week off.
And when your daughter is with her father, does her father live?
I moved into his house. I live with him.
You live together?
Correct.
Fine. So you have 3 minutes to tell me what the problem is and why you think you have a lawsuit.
2015, she brought me to court, filed the TRO, was granted the restraining order for both sides to stay away from each other.
Okay, just a second. So she brought you to court on a restraining order.
Yes.
She made an application for a temporary restraining order.
Yes.
Is that correct? And you were served with a temporary restraining order?
Not served necessarily. I was told through my son's lawyer that I was being served.
What were the allegations in that application for an order of protection?
She claimed I threatened to stab her in the back with a knife.
And was that case tried or settled?
Well, it wasn't tried. I think it was
a final protective order granted?
Yes, for 3 years.
And were they mutual protective orders?
Yes.
So after she filed an application for a protective order, did you file an application for a protective order?
No, because the order was a joint order.
No. Wasn't a joint order. She went first.
Correct.
She filed an application alleging that you threatened her.
Alleging.
Then either one of two things happened. Either you filed for a protective order and both those cases are joined together, or when you go to court, because maybe one person has a lawyer and says, listen, we don't have to try this. Why don't you both just agree not to annoy or harass each other for 3 years, and then we can save ourselves a lot of time and a lot of expense. So either one of two things happened. Either you filed for a protective order after she served you in 2015. Did you do that?
I did not know.
Well, then if you did not, then what happened is the second thing happened on my menu, which was maybe judge is a little bit lazy. Did you have a lawyer?
Yes.
And did her lawyer speak to you?
No, it spoke to my lawyer.
So you both had lawyers?
I had a family lawyer because it was her son's family lawyer, and they already knew each other, so that's how... with our custody case. So that's how they spoke to each other. So my lawyer, my family lawyer, had to get involved in this case because of that.
Well, didn't have to because of that, because you weren't a defendant or a respondent in that case. Mm-hmm. Only she was. Mm-hmm. But you brought your lawyer with you, and the two lawyers talked to each other. Mm-hmm. Did the two lawyers also talk to the judge?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah. Right. So mutual protective orders were granted?
Yes.
Great. Even though no case had been filed against you?
No.
So I still don't hear a lawsuit.
I have not talked to... So the allegation that she put that I stabbed her in the back was something that I said...
Ms. Renante, let me explain something to you. You had a lawyer.
Correct.
If you wanted to fight that order of protection, listen to me carefully. If you wanted to fight that order of protection, you should have said to your lawyer, I want a trial.
Okay.
Not say, I consent to an order of protection.
But it wasn't really about that. It was about my granddaughter. She filed the restraining order against both me and my son separate, had 2 separate judges sign it, and he couldn't have my daughter in visitation because I lived in the house with him. So I went to court to fight the visitation. She wouldn't allow her daughter in his house because I lived with him for him to see his daughter unless I wasn't there. But since I lived there, how's that going to happen?
What's your last name?
Renunciate, ma'am.
Stand up next to your mother.
Yes, ma'am.
She's too involved in your business.
No, I'm not. She drags me into the business.
Listen to me. Listen to me. I didn't ask you a question. She's too involved in your business.
Yes.
I've been doing this business for 50 years. I met her 5 minutes ago, and I'm telling you, she's a nice lady, and you don't look like a bad guy. You're quiet. You don't look like a bad guy. She's too involved in your business.
What?
You created that. You created it, I assume.
Negative. I moved my parents in 2 years ago with me because both my grandparents passed away and they were struggling. My dad had a stroke and he lost his job, so I took him in and I've been supporting them for the last 2 years.
If I were you, I would put my foot down and say, don't get involved with my business. You worked out a settlement with your former wife?
Yes.
With regard to custody?
Yes.
Is he a good father?
Yes.
See what she said?
Yes.
That was right up front. No, he did this, he did. Does he love his daughter?
Oh, yes.
Is she a good mother?
Yes.
She love her daughter?
Yes.
That's the trouble. That's the trouble. And you're going to have a problem as long as she lives with you. I assume that the protective... Trust me. I've been doing it I've been doing it a long time. She's a pot stirrer.
No, I do not.
She's a pot stirrer. Do you work?
I go to school full time.
Who supports the household?
I do.
Doing what?
I'm a vet, so I get GI Bill benefits and disability benefits from the VA. So.
Do you work?
Yes.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a supervisor for a Basie Medical Group.
Do either one of you pay child support?
Not anymore.
Well, he's perfectly capable. The fact that he wants to go to school and he has an 8-year-old child, that's fine as long as he takes care of her half the time and you take care of her half the time. That's fine. What else?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
It's not good for you to be around a grandparent, either because they're a pot stirrer.
Not a pot stirrer. Her daughter.
Let me tell you something, Miss Ferrante.
She can talk to me and not talk to her mother. I'm not a pot stirrer. I stay out of stuff.
Do you have it?
And later today,
I'm trying to figure out what were you there. You weren't a tenant because a tenant pays rent. You weren't his girlfriend because you say you weren't his girlfriend.
Right.
You just lived there.
We were friends.
Is that what you were, Mr. Fidlock?
Intimately, yes.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Patricia Renante says former daughter-in-law, Joanne Paredes, falsely accused her of making threats, causing her to incur legal bills.
Okay, what else?
What else? I was, at the end of September, 911 called my son. I was with my son. We were out in the car against Joanne. She had locked herself into the bathroom, my granddaughter, fearing for her life. We went to the police station, and I go, there's court orders that says I can. And so I showed up with my son at the police station to support him and to tell my granddaughter I would be there. And she said, I have a restraining order, can get rid of her.
Absolutely
so I was
right.
asked to, and I get that. I
Absolutely
understand, and
right.
I knew that was going to happen. But the other cases are September 16th was her birthday. It was his day to have her. She shows up and expects me to stay away while she shows up on his week. Thanksgiving, she did it again. She sent a text message saying, your mom better not be there because I'm going to be there. My granddaughter was in a choir for Thanksgiving at her church.
Which is my church.
Yeah, I just said your church.
Right.
Mr. Renante,
so we showed up.
You got the drill?
Yeah.
Do you understand the drill?
Yes, ma'am.
I want to be there for my daughter, my granddaughter.
I want to tell you something. Grandparents in this country do not have rights to see their grandchildren. Now, I used to think that that was an absolutely ridiculous law, unless either parent was considered unfit to take care of them. In this country, in most jurisdictions, the parent has the right to say, this is a person who I think is good for you to be around.
or not. And if it's not good for you to be around a grandparent, for whatever reason, either because they're a pot stirrer.
Not a pot stirrer. Talk to me and not talk to her mother. She feels comfortable talking to me. She talks to me. She doesn't talk to her mom. I'm not a pot stirrer. I stay out of stuff.
Do you have it?
Yes.
Do you understand it? And it may have to reach a point where you say to your mother and your father, is he still alive?
Yes, he is.
You have to find someplace else to live.
We're working
I'll
on
help
that, Your
I'll
Honor.
help you, but you have to find someplace else to live. You can't be involved with my business, with my ex-wife and my daughter. My ex-wife and I seem to get along just fine unless you're involved in the business.
Don't get
Your
along.
case is dismissed. Goodbye. We're done.
Your Honor, I'm out $2,500 in lawyer fees because she took me to court.
Absolutely, perfect.
There was no reason for her to take me to court. I never threatened her. How can I threaten a person if I haven't talked to her since 2009?
Take your mother home.
That's not true.
It is true, and you know it is.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
All I want to do is see my granddaughter perform at her school, perform at the church.
She's way too much into her business.
I just want everybody to get along, and my daughter loves her Gemma.
Spend time with her as a grandmother. Leave me out of it.
I can put on my big girl panties and be an adult. I'm just hoping she can put on her big girl panties.
Only one mother. That's me.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Stewart versus Figlock. Step forward.
Samantha Stewart is suing her ex-roommate, Joseph, turned belongings and a false restraining order.
Ms. Stewart, you and the defendant lived together as roommates and then had a brief romantic relationship, but then as roommates for most of the 5 years that you lived together.
Just roommates, Your Honor.
Well, Mr. Figlock evidently doesn't think so because he says that Samantha lived with me for about 5 years. Initially, she was a friend of my girlfriend's, and she was pregnant, so I just wanted to help her out. Some years later, we had a romantic relationship, but that fizzled out last spring. Is that correct?
Yes.
I knew I read it someplace. But then you stayed on. Did you pay rent when you lived with the defendant?
When I first initially started staying with Mr. Figlock, he had told me because I had been through... Excuse me?
The answer is, did you pay rent?
No, ma'am.
Did you ever pay rent?
I had helped a few times, yes.
What does that mean?
I had given him funds when I had them available.
So what do you mean? You just hung out in his house? You just lived in his house?
No, ma'am. I was working on a case.
What case?
A case against me for my child through the state of Oregon.
Well, what does he have to do with that?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Your boyfriend says that you were with him starting in February. You say you didn't move your stuff out. He says, I don't want her junk in my house.
You're
He
right.
got rid of it. You can't just leave your junk in somebody else's house for 3 months.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Samantha Stewart says ex-roommate Joseph Figlock destroyed her property, kept her belongings, and filed a false restraining order. Joseph is countersuing for property damage.
Okay. Did you pay rent when you lived with the defendant?
No, ma'am.
So what do you mean? You just hung out in his house?
No, ma'am. I was working on a case.
What case?
A case against me for my child through the state of Oregon.
Well, what does he have to do with that?
I was best friends with his girlfriend, and he allowed me to stay so I can focus on what I needed to get done for my baby.
Did there come a time when his girlfriend left the house? Yes, either yes or a no?
Yes, ma'am.
And you stayed?
Temporarily.
For how long?
Couple months, and then I moved into a hotel for a little while and then moved back in with Mr. Figlock.
I know, this all sounds very sketchy to me. And anyway, this is your case. You say that you ultimately moved out. You went to live with your boyfriend. I assume you're the boyfriend?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Figlock got rid of all your stuff.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'm trying to figure out what were you there?
Excuse me?
I'm trying to figure out what were you there? You weren't a tenant because a tenant pays rent. You weren't his girlfriend because you say you weren't his girlfriend.
Right.
You just lived there, not related to him.
We were friends,
Mm-hmm.
good friends.
When did she move out? Give me the date she moved out.
She moved out, she was moving in and out all the time. She'd be gone for a week, come back, to the point where I had enough of it, and I said for her to leave.
When was that?
I would say beginning of April of 2016.
And what did she say to you when you told her it was time for her to go?
Nothing. She would just leave or whatever, and then I wouldn't see her again for another week or two, and then
Where was her child at this time?
the child was with her mother in Indiana.
When did she finally leave the house permanently?
May approximately 31st.
When did you leave the house permanently?
I wasn't
When?
going...
Maybe.
Yes,
Stand up. Your name, please.
John Bakke.
When did Miss Stewart move in with you? Date.
It would have been...
Think carefully and give me the date. Don't say anything.
Beginning of February.
February of 2016.
Yes, ma'am.
She lived with you full-time starting in February of 2016?
She was staying with me permanently, but hadn't...
Just a second.
moved.
She was staying with you permanently.
Correct.
Now, what kind of financial arrangement do you have with Miss Stewart as far as paying bills? Does she work? Does she contribute anything to your household, or you take care of her?
Currently, right now, we're both living in our car.
You're living in your car?
Yep.
When did you start to live in your car?
Within the last 2 months.
Ergo, the lawsuit. This is what your lawsuit says. Your lawsuit says that Mr. Figlock disposed of $5,000 worth of your property. On what date do you allege he disposed of $5,000 worth of your property? Give me the month.
Yes, May.
Month, May. Well, as far as your boyfriend is concerned, and he's not a liar, is he? You were living with him February, March, and April. That's 3 months. How long do you expect him to store your stuff?
No, ma'am, I was staying there. I hadn't moved out yet.
Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Your boyfriend says that you were with him starting in February. You say you didn't move your stuff out. He says, I don't want her junk in my house.
Your
He
Honor.
got rid of it.
He destroyed it.
I don't care. You can't just leave your junk in somebody else's house for 3 months while you're living with your boyfriend. You can't just leave your junk there.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, you want to tell me what happened when she broke your door, or you really don't want to be bothered with it?
I'd like to mention it that, the police were called 3 times, and...
What month?
And ended, the last time was in May.
So April and May.
Yes, I went over. So 3 times I attempted to throw out the stuff, and the police showed up, and I told them that she had a key, and I worked nights, so she could come anytime and get her stuff. And they let me go 3 times. The second time, she was yelling at me or something, and so I walked away, which the police said was okay. And when I walked back, she was gone, but the door was kicked out from the inside out. So I told the policeman about it, and he just said, oh, your landlord will be very angry. And I said, yes.
Okay. Mr. Figlock, has she bothered you in the last 3 months?
Bothered me?
Yeah.
No.
Come to your home, called you, anything in the last 3 months?
No. I mean, yes.
Ms. Stewart, you have no case against him. Your case is dismissed. We're done. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
This is traumatic to me because I've been through so much.
I think it was fair.
Because I wouldn't have sex with him. That's what it boils down to.
I was never angry because she wouldn't sleep with me. She slept with me all the time.
He went to jail, got out, and out of retaliation, he tried to get a restraining order against me.
That's baloney.
He wasn't supposed to be there when I was allowed to go get what property he didn't destroy, and it was gone.
Who knows? She's crazy.
I don't trust people.
I'm happy it's all over.
She fired me. I did not fire her, Judge Judy.
A former daycare worker's revenge?
What did you tell CPS when you called?
That a table had failed on my baby, and she failed to report it.
You didn't feel as if your child was endangered. You took her back there the next day.
And a pest problem.
She had bugs.
She had bugs?
Yes, ma'am.
That didn't always bug her.
I'm just being honest with you.
Why weren't you honest before you got fired?
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Evelyn Williams is suing her former employer, daycare owner Patricia Rushing, and her employee, LaToya Johnson, for unpaid wages, child endangerment, and property damage.
Order. All rise. It's case number 419 on the calendar, the matter Williams versus Rushing Johnson. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Which one of you 2 ladies is Miss Rushing?
Me.
Miss Johnson, I would like you to sit down for a second. I'll get to your part of the case in a minute. I don't like it to be confusing. Miss Williams, Miss Rushing played a good Samaritan for you. She offered you a place.
Yes.
She offered you some money.
Yes, ma'am.
She offered you a job.
Yes, ma'am.
And when did she do all this for you?
In August, the beginning of August, or the end of August.
Well, tell me when it was, the beginning of August or the end of August?
I believe it was the end of August, ma'am.
And where did you come back from?
I was working for another company.
So how did you become homeless?
I was staying in a subsidized housing. It's called based off your income. I gave that apartment up due to safety issues, and I didn't want the state to take my daughter. So it was always shooting, gun violence down there. So me and Evelyn needed a place to stay. I asked Miss Dee, could she help me find somewhere? She referred me to Miss Russian. Miss Russian was my boss at the time, so she volunteered $190 to my landlord. I have paperwork also.
So she was good to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Now you're suing her for $5,000?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now you're going to tell me what you're suing her for.
I'm suing Patricia Russian for unpaid wages.
Okay. How much unpaid wages?
She owes me $280 in unpaid wages.
Just a minute, $280.
Yes, ma'am.
Did she ever make a loan to you? Give you money?
$190. Yes, ma'am.
$190?
Yes.
Did you ever pay her back?
Yes, she took it out of my check. She have control over my check.
During what period of time?
The next month.
Period of time?
I worked from October 11th to October 17th, 2016. I worked 35 hours. I worked 5 hours a day, Monday through Friday.
Okay. Check your records, because this is going to be an easy case. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Did she work from the 11th of October to the 17th?
Yes, ma'am, she did.
Did you pay her for that?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So $280.
It's actually $268. Here's the check right here, $69, the actual check.
That's what tax took it out, Your Honor.
I did her check, the net check with the pay stub.
But that's the check that wasn't paid?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. And it's still a valid check. I turn it over to you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. So there are your wages. Child endangerment. Now, tell me the story about child endangerment.
Okay, I started Gates Barbecue October 15th. She asked me to get a second job. Again, I was only working 5 hours a day for her.
Okay, so you got a second job, and according to what I read, you were late coming into
30
her
minutes.
job.
Yes, ma'am.
And then got into an argument, and she fired you.
She fired me.
Okay. And you left?
Yes.
But you left your daughter in the daycare?
No, I took my daughter with me. The state is still paying her. It happened on barbecue in the morning. So since the state is still paying her, I took little Evelyn to the daycare.
So you had to be at work Friday?
Yes, ma'am.
You had no place for your daughter?
Right.
Even though this didn't end well?
Right.
So you took her back?
Yes.
To your
because it wasn't
daycare?
That, yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Was there a problem with that?
Yes, ma'am.
What was the problem?
That morning when I got to work, that night, if I can go back, I did not fire her, Judge Judy. So when I found out that day when I got to work, CPS was out there. She had filed a false claim on my daycare that night. Yes, ma'am.
You mean the day that you fired her?
I did not fire her.
Well, let's say she
that night, yes, ma'am. When she got off the phone, she called
CPS.
CPS. That morning, they came to the daycare and spent about 6 hours out there investigating false allegations.
Just a second. The night that you say, the day she fired you.
Yes, ma'am.
You said she fired you
yes,
for coming in late. Did you make a report to CPS?
No, ma'am. I made a report to CPS the day that she dropped Evelyn off at Gates Barbecue. And I made
just a second.
2 calls that day. I made one in front of my boss, and I made one once I got home that night. I had to do it in front of my boss because she came up there in front of...
On what date did CPS...
The claim was made on October the 20th, the one that she filed. And that's the reason I took her daughter to.
So it was made the same day?
It was made the day that she say I fired her.
And then you brought her daughter back to where she was working. Back was because CPS had come to your facility.
Yes, ma'am.
And told you that she had filed a claim.
They didn't tell me that she did it. She eventually admitted to it. I knew who had did it. We were so dangerous, all these lies she told. Why would you leave your daughter there?
Got it. Now I'd like to see the basis of your claim. Okay, so you brought her daughter back, and you have a video to show me the endangerment.
I have a video of my boss stating that they came.
No, I don't do that.
Okay.
No. I will see what you say was child endangerment.
Right.
You don't have that.
I don't have a video
Then you
of
don't
her.
have it, and you didn't witness it.
No, I have a witness, and then I also have my manager.
Did you understand what I said? I'm take your manager's video telling me what she saw.
Yes, ma'am.
I can't ask her questions.
Okay, and I also have a witness. She was there. She was on break of the time of the incident. She was outside.
Okay. Stand up and tell me your name.
My name is Callie Banks.
Okay, I'd like you to tell me what you saw.
I was at my job.
And this would be on the 20th?
Yes, the 28th.
Jump!
I'm sorry.
I'm not asking you anything.
Yes, ma'am.
This would be on the 20th?
No, ma'am, the 28th of October.
28th?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, on the 28th of October, you're going to tell me what you saw.
I was outside on break, 2 cars had pulled in. 2 ladies got out the car, went inside the job. The 2 ladies came back outside. There was a lady outside in pajamas like this. Lady had the pajamas on. She grabbed the baby out the car by her arms, dangling her, telling Miss Evelyn, here, get your baby. So my supervisor came outside. She went over and put her hand underneath the baby's butt and on her baby's back because the baby has a weak spine.
How do you know that?
I've been around the baby before.
How have you been around the baby before?
I had babysitted her daughter before.
How many times?
About 2 or 3 times.
About 2 or 3 times. And your job at her job is what?
I'm a cashier.
Did she get the job there because of you?
No, ma'am.
If you babysat for her before, you babysat for her before she came to work at the restaurant?
It was after.
But she had just started that job. So you became friends afterwards?
Yeah, pretty much.
Now you can sit down. The last day of her school, of the child's school, was on what date?
October the 21st, the day after she filed the claim.
October the 21st
Yes,
is
ma'am.
when you brought her back?
Yes, ma'am.
Not the 28th?
Yes, ma'am.
You're off by about a week?
Boy, it was the day after you filed the claim.
You're off by about a week. Okay, she owes you your wages. Your wages are $280. Now, that takes care of your business, and you've gotten your $280 so that you two are now square.
Yes, ma'am.
Now you can stand up.
What about my counterclaim?
Just a second. You two are now square, so you can stand up, move in. Your property.
Yes, ma'am.
This young lady whose last name is?
Johnson.
And what property do you allege she damaged?
She busted out my window because...
Don't tell me because.
I had called the police on Patricia.
You called the police?
For unpaid wages on Patricia.
Right.
The police...
On what date?
This was 10/24.
So you called the police and you said she didn't pay me my wages. The police would have told you this is a civil matter.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and?
I was on my way downtown following the police.
What were you following the police for?
To go to the new headquarters that they built downtown.
For what reason?
To file a restraining order and a police report about unpaid wages. They was going to show me how to take care of everything. I never done this before.
The police were going to tell you
They was escorting me downtown to the building.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I get to the headquarters, my phone ring. The officer asked me, could I wait to answer it? But I see it's Toya calling my phone. I say, what Toya? I'm downtown. You not downtown? Answer your door. I hear boom, boom, boom. I'm like, Toya, get away from my door. I'm not at home. She was like, open this door. Next thing I hear is my window shattered. So then I tell the police, so if I go home and something happened to me, then what's next? She tell me, well, you ain't thinking about that when we get fired and the daycare gets shut down. I said, Gates is hiring, and our slogan is high, man. And that was it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She had bugs.
And when did you first see those bugs?
Don't know what exact month, Your Honor. But I always see roaches in there, and she tell me she gonna take care of them. I'm just being honest with her.
Why weren't you honest before you got fired?
And later today.
Now that I understand that this paraffin was supposed to go on your hands, and I assume that you weren't treated in the hospital or doctor for this burn that you're complaining about. Is that correct?
Correct.
Because now I'm going to rule in his favor because you're annoying.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Evelyn Williams says her former employer, Patricia Rushing, and her employee, LaToya Johnson, owe for wages, child endangerment, and property damage. Patricia is countersuing for a false CPS report.
Okay, so you worked with her
Yes,
on
ma'am.
Cross Your Arms. Now, you have your phone?
Yes,
the phone log would log as to whether or not you called the plaintiff on the 24th of October. Did you call the plaintiff on the 24th of October?
No, ma'am.
Look at your phone. Does your phone have a log of that phone call coming into your phone on the 24th of
I didn't
October?
even have this phone on October 24th. This is a new phone, matter of fact. And I have
Just a
her
second.
phone number.
Now, this is the day that you're here. We're not talking about something that happened a year ago. We're talking about something that happened a couple of months ago.
Yes, ma'am.
So if you knew you were coming here, she says she didn't call you. You said she calls you. It's your proof. Your proof.
Right.
Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Your case is dismissed as against her. You can sit down. She owes you $280. We've taken care of that. Now we have a counterclaim. So the genesis of the counterclaim really is about a vindictive call to CPS,
Right.
which caused an investigation, which caused, according to her, damage. Now, so I'm going to you, Miss Williams.
Yes, ma'am.
You worked at the daycare center.
Yes.
And you worked there until October.
Yes, ma'am.
And you worked there for 2 years or for a year and a half prior to that.
Right.
In what year?
I don't know what exact year I started working for her, but I know I ended working for her in 2016.
I know that you ended working for her. I'm trying to figure out how long you worked for her.
I don't know the exact date, ma'am.
Well, I don't know either. The phone call that you made to CPS was on, according to you, the 20th, right?
No, I hotlined her the day that she brought my daughter to Gates Barbecue.
Well, so that's the 21st. We all agree that it was the 21st, except your witness who said it was a week later. So that's the 21st. So now I want you to tell me, what did you tell CPS when you called?
I let CPS know that my boss. Then the next time when I got home, I let CPS know that a table had failed on a baby and she failed to report it. I couldn't report it.
Just a second. That a table fell on a baby. Yes. In what month?
It was the same month. It had happened that same month.
In October?
Yes, ma'am.
And what else? And what else?
She had bugs.
She had bugs?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of bugs?
She had bugs in the water fountain, and she had bugs when you open the refrigerator and get your lunch out of there.
Okay. And when did you first see those bugs?
Don't know what exact month, Your Honor. But I always see roaches in there, and she tell me she gonna take care of them, and then somebody come with this little weak spray, and they come out even more. I'm just being honest with you.
Why weren't you honest before you got fired? Listen to me.
Honest.
Why weren't you honest if you were so concerned about these things that you saw?
I asked her, and I showed her.
Why weren't you concerned before you got fired? They're children.
I did. I let her know every day. She said she was going to take care of it. She never did. She got all this money. Every time I see her, she pulling up in something new. But she never take care of the bugs. She said that's something small. They going to come in and spray, but they didn't get rid of them. They didn't disappear.
I don't believe, this is what's called the misuse of certain powers that we give ordinary citizens to report events that they see that endanger children, of workers, because using that as a tool of vindictiveness rather than as a real exposure of something that may in fact endanger children. You didn't feel as if your child was endangered. You took her back there the next day. After she fired you, you took her back there the next day.
My baby wasn't in the room with the roaches. The roaches is in the kitchen.
Okay. Your claim is dismissed. Judgment on the counterclaim for $1,500 for maliciously filing a report with CPS. We're done. Thank you.
Audience are excused. You may step out.
I really did care about her and her child because she was homeless.
She came here with all this false information. She didn't have all her evidence or nothing.
And the fact that she would do this and then come here and tell all those lies. I love Judge Judy. Judge Judy is the bomb.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Pears versus Nguyen. Step forward.
Adam Pears is suing nail salon owner Bao Nguyen for damaging his jeans during a manicure.
All right, Mr. Pears, some time ago, you went into the defendant's salon to have a mani and a pedi.
Yes.
And when you were getting your manicure, I gather that what they also did was to take off some hair on your hands?
No, Your Honor. It wasn't for the... So I work in... So there are these mitts.
Okay, so it's paraffin.
Yes.
It's a sort of paraffin, so it's not hot wax like they used to take off hair.
It's hot. It's supposed to be warm, but not too hot. It's not supposed to be
Just
that
a second.
hot. Sorry.
They put it on your hands as a procedure to leave it on to soften whatever is on your hands. It's not like a wax. Have you ever had a wax?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you know what that is.
Yes.
That hurts. That's a very hot wax that
Yes.
they put on. They let her and they rip it off.
Yes, Your Honor.
Unpleasant. But that's not this. This is a paraffin treatment. Now I understand.
Right.
And it is your claim, sir, that the esthetician who was doing that for you was clumsy and spilled some wax on your jeans.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Grow up.
Your Honor.
Get a life. There's nothing there. You can't see it now.
I
and
can
they're
see
your
it.
jeans.
Your Honor, it's
I
right
just
here.
looked at it.
If the way that they treated the jeans changed the way that the jeans fit, it's their $300
If I were taller,
jeans.
I would be a runway model.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Adam Pears is suing nail salon owner Bao Nguyen for damaging his jeans during a manicure.
Now, it is your claim, sir, that the esthetician on your jeans...
That's not true, Your Honor.
Spilled some wax on your jeans and it went through and it burned you. That's what your case is about. You want $600. Now, I assume those are the jeans. Are those the jeans?
Yeah, these are the jeans. Sure.
Just to answer my question. Don't think of where I'm going. Don't think of the... Just answer the question. Those are the jeans.
These are the jeans.
The defendant says that it was your fault. You moved around and knocked over this paraffin. The truth of the matter is...
That's true, Your Honor.
Oh, be quiet. Truth of the matter is, I don't care. Now that I understand that this paraffin was supposed to go on your hands, and I assume that you weren't treated at any hospital or doctor for this burn that you're complaining about. Is that correct?
You're right.
Right.
You're right.
Because now I'm going to rule in his favor because you're annoying.
I apologize.
Because if wax fell on you, it was supposed to be on your skin. It was supposed to be someplace. So if it fell on your jeans, it was supposed to be on your skin. You have no proof of injury. You have no proof of injury, is that right?
Correct.
Good. So let's talk about the jeans. Now, those are the jeans that got splattered with wax.
Yes,
May I see the jeans? How did you get the jeans in your possession, Mr. Nagayan?
So at a call, it's made...
Answer my question.
He
Did he
came by the
bring them
salon
in? He came by the salon and showed you that these jeans... Is this what you're talking about?
Just one little spot.
I'm not asking you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, is this what you're talking about?
I'm not sure, Your Honor.
Would you ask him to point to me what he's complaining about?
Your Honor, it looks like they've cleaned these jeans.
What?
Your Honor, this is the spot that I was...
That was the spot that you were complaining about.
But it was much worse before.
But it's not worse now.
Well, the problem is with the fabric, the fits might not be the same. So
Goodbye. We're done.
If
The
they're...
case is dismissed. It's over. Grow up. Get a life. Grow up.
Your Honor.
Get a life. There's nothing there.
Well,
if it's not there, if you can't see it now,
I can't
and they're
see
your
it.
jeans.
Your Honor, it's right here.
I just looked at it. Goodbye.
Oh.
We're done.
Your Honor.
Goodbye. We're finished.
May I just say, if the jeans...
Goodbye. We're finished.
If the way that they treated the jeans changed the way that these jeans fit, it's their $300 jeans.
Step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
She spilled the wax on the jeans.
No, I did.
He said that he would cover the cost of the jeans multiple times.
I tried to be very reasonable, offer to take the jeans to professional clean.
I guess I should just go to the salon naked if I'm going to get a mani and pedi so people don't ruin my clothes.
Because we want to make every customer happy.
Fed up, waiting for his coworker to pay up.
I sent him a text message saying, I'm going to take you to small claims on this matter then.
Then his own paycheck stopped.
I filed a protection order the day after I received the small claims court order.
Making it impossible for him to go to work.
It was in my belief that he was going to continue to harass me while I was at work.
I don't care what you believe. You abuse the system.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Scott Sylvester is suing his former roommate and co-worker, 23-year-old Joshua Sumrow, for the return of rent and security deposit and lost wages.
Order. All rise. It's case number 366 on the calendar in the matter of Sylvester versus Sumrow.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Mr. Sylvester, you and the defendant worked together.
Yes, Your Honor.
Where did you work?
We worked at Kazuki Ramen. It's a ramen house, a restaurant.
How long had you been working there?
We both worked there for about 5 months. I was there in the opening, so was he. So we opened the restaurant together, basically.
Did you know each other before you opened the restaurant?
No, Your Honor.
And there came a time when you decided to room together. Was that a permanent arrangement for you or a temporary arrangement for you?
Definitely temporary. It was kind of more of a personal favor. The apartment was far away from downtown, and at the time I wasn't driving, so he pretty much just asked me, could you please, because we went and saw the place together, the landlord liked me, they're like, could you please just move in for a couple of months until you find another arrangement, which I did allow, but I didn't want to be on the lease, and I wanted to pay less than him because I knew I wouldn't be there as frequently.
Were you on the lease?
No.
Only you were on the lease?
That's correct.
Okay. Did you put down security deposit?
Yes.
How much?
$350.
And you moved out after a couple of months?
Just 1 month, really.
2 months.
I thought it was 2 months.
2 months.
Did you give him his security deposit back?
I returned $250 of his security deposit back. And
why?
I withheld $100 for outstanding bills from the months that he had lived there.
I've never seen a dollar.
Just a second.
Sorry.
What bills?
I have a garbage bill.
To all of those bills add up to together?
They totaled $269.84.
Bird, would you show those to the plaintiff, please? Because we're going to get to the crux of this case in a minute.
The previous payment is here, and then this is the actual bill from that time
Current
period.
bill.
Yeah, no, I've seen the bills. I paid him in cash for these bills. I never saw $1 from the deposit. It was $350. I also helped him out for
Just a second.
You want these?
No, I don't want them at all. I'm not getting involved with that. There's one issue in this case, and I'm not getting involved with your $250 and $350 because it was my understanding from reading your complaint, sir, that he did give you some money back from the...
No, I never received $1 from the deposit or the rent that's owed. Basically, I moved out early September with the agreement that when his new roommate moved in, I would receive the money for that rent and also the deposit.
Do you have proof that you returned any part of the deposit to him?
No, everything was dealt with in cash.
Okay. Now, you moved out on what date, sir?
It was like September 2nd, between the 2nd
Great.
and the 5th.
No. So I'm not getting involved in it because if you actually believed that he owed you money and there was so much animus, late October, you wouldn't have gone to his house for a house party, which is really the crux of this case, which is the only part of it that I'm dealing with. So let's rent or some money for security deposit. When you were invited to his home a month later, a month after you moved out, for a party, I would not have gone if I was in an acrimonious situation with somebody. So you went to a party at his house in October.
Yes.
Now I want you to tell me what happened when you went to the party in October, because that's what this case is about.
When I went to the party in October, we discussed the deposit and the monies owed. And as you mentioned, I did have some resentment.
You shouldn't have gone.
Yeah, I really shouldn't have gone.
Right.
Guaranteed.
Okay.
You know, he basically got violent with me about it. He pushed me outside the door and then
Told you
locked
to
the
leave.
door. Yeah.
Unlock the door.
He locked the door with my keys inside, my car keys inside. So.
And keep going.
Then I had to pay for a cab to get home.
And
then the next day he said a bunch of crazy things to our manager that we work for.
I don't know whether he did or not. That's hearsay.
Either way, though.
Because there's nobody here.
Either way, I sent him a text message saying, I'm going to take you to small claims on this matter then. I
So
gave him the small
I'd like
claims
to
paperwork.
see that text.
I don't have the text with me, but I do have the small claims paperwork that I filed.
Listen to me carefully.
Yes.
I want to see the text where you said to him, I'm going to small claims court. You say you have a text. Use your phone right there.
Yeah, I do not have the text, unfortunately. This is a new phone.
You know how many times I hear people, how did you get a new phone when you lost your job? What you're suing for here is lost wages. When did you get...
I do have the small claims paperwork.
Just a second. Listen, I'm going to do my drill when I'm satisfied that I'm going to throw you both out.
Yes, Your Honor.
Great. Good. Now, so you don't have the text.
No.
And you said if I don't get satisfaction, according to you, which you don't have because you bought a new phone, you said I'm going to take you to small claims court. And you filed a small claims case on what date?
The small claims was filed on October 31st.
On what date were you served with the small claims case?
I was served that Monday, I believe.
By whom?
His mother.
Where?
She came behind the bar while I was at work.
And at that time, you were both still working at the same restaurant?
That is correct.
Were you working the same shift?
No.
What shift were you working?
I was working my afternoon shift, so I was working the 4:30 to close shift.
And what shift were you working, sir?
I did not work that day, the 31st.
What shift did you usually work?
I worked the same shifts as Josh.
So then you were both working the same shift, except for the day you was allegedly served with a small claims case.
Yeah.
Just answer my questions.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now I would like to see the small claims case.
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, I see two small claims cases.
Yes, I amended the order to include the lost wages after he filed a restraining order to keep me from work.
Just a second. But you left things out when you filed an amended complaint. First claim you asked for, not that I'm getting involved in it, prorated rent, a loan, and your possessions, and your deposit. The second case you filed was deposit, rent, and lost wages. So I assume that you got your loan back and your possessions back.
No, I didn't. I've not gotten my
So you just made a mistake.
Yeah, I just amended
Just a
yours.
mistake. All right. Now, the whole thrust of this case, and the only part that I will hear,
Yes, ma'am.
so that's nonsense, is that at some point you filed a protective order against him.
That is correct.
On what date?
I filed a protection order the day after I received the small claims court.
Basically in response.
Yeah.
Don't speak. You filed it the day after.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay. And I would like to see the date that you filed it and the allegations that you make.
Okay, I have the petition, and I also have the temporary order, if you'd like.
Let's see the petition. Now I would like you, sir, to explain to me the reason that you filed this protective order a day after you were served with a small claims case.
So the incident that occurred at my house, as it states in the petition, he was sexually harassing a house guest. Upon being asked to stop, he berated her using...
Who cares?
Okay. I kicked him out.
Who cares?
I kicked him out. I didn't feel the need to call the police because he was
That's
intoxicated. I wanted the matter to end there. He made it clear that he was not going to end the matter
No,
there.
don't just say. Don't tell me what he made clear. He
Yes,
was
ma'am.
bothering somebody at your party.
Mhm.
That person didn't file a protective order against him. You did. And I want you to tell me what he did that inspired you after you were served with a small claim case to file a protective order.
He made it clear that...
No, not clear. That is an assumption, sir, based upon facts, which you are going to tell me, and the facts had better be consistent with what you wrote in your answer, which you probably don't remember.
In my petition order?
No, in my case.
Okay.
In my case. So I want you to tell me specifically what Mr. Sylvester said or did to you that inspired you to file for served with a small claims case.
The day after I was served with a small claims case, it was in my belief that he was going to continue to harass me while I was at work, and therefore I filed the protection order.
I want to tell you something. You abuse the system. I don't care what you believe. Your mother cares what you believe. Maybe your sister cares what you believe. Maybe your mother cares how you feel. Maybe your sister cares how you feel. The law doesn't give a rat's ass how you feel. The law believes in facts. And so far, I've asked you 3 times to give me something specific that Mr. Sylvester said or did to you that inspired you to file for a protective order against him, excluding him from your workplace, because that's what you asked for. Excluding him from your workplace. And I guarantee you, on Bird's life, that you did not tell the judge before whom you were requesting this protective order that you worked in the same place.
I made it very clear.
Oh, I don't believe that.
I made it very clear
I don't
to the
believe
judge.
that, because then you're telling me that the judge was a moron.
The judge suspended it. He didn't issue a restraining. He didn't issue a permanent restraining order.
No, sir. Let's make ourselves perfectly clear.
Yes, ma'am.
You requested a protective order on an emergency basis, excluding him from your workplace.
That's correct.
And the judge granted that application on an emergency basis, therefore making it impossible for him to go to work. And I guarantee you that you didn't tell that judge who granted the temporary restraining order based on this nonsense that he was a fellow worker along with you. You may have told the judge who heard the final order of protection and denied it, because you were not granted a final order of protection, right?
No, but I disclosed his working location when the judge asked where the perfect place for service would be, service of the actual document.
I think that you overstepped it, and you abused the system, and you abused him. Now, if you felt threatened, which I think you did not, was this, by the way, this young woman that he was making come-ons to at the party, was this somebody that you knew well? And give me the first name.
Her name was Van Lynn, and yes, it is somebody that I know well.
Is it somebody that you were dating?
You can say
What is that? That's either a yes or a no.
Yes, we were dating.
Right.
Casually.
And later today,
If I had been aware that I was supposed to be out by October 31st, you bet your bottom dollar I would have been there with bells on.
Well, that's too bad. You're not losing so far, right? Is there anything that I did? I'm not buying her story.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Scott Sylvester says former roommate Joshua Sumrow owes for the return of rent and security deposit and lost wages.
So while I'm not getting involved with the rest of this nonsense, I am awarding him money for lost wages.
Okay.
Because I think that your actions not only abuse me as part of a system, because you used it in retaliation. Your girlfriend didn't feel threatened enough to go and seek a protective order. And you never sought a protective order before you were served with a small claims case. And this was after the party.
It's for the same...
Just a second. We're done. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500. We're finished. Thank you.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Nobody wanted to live with him. He's a slob.
When I woke up to him cleaning my house...
He's always broke. And it's red flags.
And having random people that I'd never met before coming to view the house.
So the few people that I did bring by, they're like, this is disgusting. Before 30, we're not doing this. So it was a trouble to get that spot.
Not going to do it again.
And hopefully this is one step closer for Joshua becoming a man. A lot of child activity, and I'm just glad to have some of my wages back.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Rader versus Walker. Step forward, please.
Alana Rader is suing Timothy Walker for stealing the contents of her apartment.
Miss Rader, in April of this year, you left some property in some sort of women's residence.
Yes.
You moved into an apartment. That property was, I gather, stored in some sort of a garage. You didn't pay any money for the storage.
No.
And you didn't go back to the property for 5 months. Now, Mr. Walker rented that property, which included the garage, correct?
Correct.
And he says that he got rid of all the stuff because he was paying rent on this property and didn't want your stuff in a place where he was paying rent, right?
Correct.
Now, when you rented the property, sir, who did you rent it from?
Landlord lived across the street.
Tell me what kind of residence it is.
It's a transitional housing for women.
Now, you rented it for what purpose?
To continue providing services for women.
Continue the business.
Correct.
So you run a business there.
Correct.
Now, you.
Correct.
What property was in the garage?
Boxes, trash.
Was there any furniture in the garage?
It was pieces of furniture.
Like what?
Couches.
Okay. How many couches were there?
I believe it was 2 sets.
Did you take either of those 2 sets of furniture into the house?
No, ma'am.
Did you take any furniture from the garage into the house?
No, ma'am.
What did you do with all the property that was in the garage?
I had it removed from the property.
When?
November 1st.
When you started paying rent?
Correct.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
On November 1st in the morning, I called him and said, I'm on my way over to pick up my things.
I think that that's a bit of a scam.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Alana Rader claims Timothy Walker stole nearly all her belongings.
I'm listening.
Okay, I had actually called Mr. Walker on October 21st to tell him that I would be getting my things on November 1st because I had through November 1st.
How did you have through November 1st?
Because he was then moving in.
No, he was moving in on November 1st.
Yes.
So you had to get your things out. Well, I don't care what you were told. He was paying rent as of November 1st. So you can't tell him when you're going to get your stuff out. If you called him October 21st, why didn't you get your stuff out October 22nd?
Well, he said fine at that point in time.
Did you tell her fine?
No, ma'am.
What did you tell her?
I notified the previous owner to let everybody know as of November 1st, get in contact with anybody, because I don't know who was living there prior to me, and to get their stuff out of there.
Did you ever speak to her?
I don't recall, ma'am.
I do. It was on October 31st.
On what?
21st.
On October 21st?
Yes.
Well, why didn't you get your stuff out? He was paying rent as of November 1st. You hadn't been there April, May, June, July, August, September, and October, 7 months.
Yes.
That your junk was there without paying any storage fee, without doing anything, without contacting anybody,
Right.
He doesn't have to store your stuff.
No,
Mrs.
absolutely not.
Then you
And
should have gotten your stuff out October 31st.
Well, I was told through, and that's a key word, through November 1st. So on November 1st in the morning, I called him and said, I'm on my way over to pick up my things.
I think that that's a bit of a scam. If you could go over through November 1st, you could have gone up to October 31st. What's the magic of November 1st after 7 months?
November 1st.
You're not getting any money. That's not happening. If you wanted this stuff, you would have gotten it out before. And that was your problem. He's not responsible for your stuff. He's paying rent.
Yes.
And you're not. And he doesn't have to look at your junk in the garage that you've left there, abandoned for 7 months without paying any storage. He doesn't have to pay rent, which is how much for the property?
$2,500.
He doesn't have to pay $2,500 a month starting November 1st. Not through November 1st, starting November 1st.
If I had been aware that I was supposed to be out by October 31st, you bet your bottom dollar I would have been there with bells on.
Well, that's too bad. But you're not losing so far, right? Is there anything that I did? You're not losing.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
I'm not buying her story because how old are you?
In my 60s.
You're in your 60s and you've had apartments?
Yes.
Yes. And when you start renting an apartment, if you start the 1st of the month, you move in on the 1st of the month, then it's yours.
Yes.
It doesn't belong to the previous tenant until midnight on the 1st of the month.
That's right. No. So I could have come at 1 a.m. on November 1st.
Goodbye. We're done. I'm done with you.
No, Judge Judy, I want to say one thing. This man is a liar and a thief.
You're a hustler.
And I'm a what?
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Because this man lied to me and said that all of my things were on the curb. He told me that November 1st.
Thought it was perfect. Fair.
I was just calling him to tell him that I was on my way, which I was.
I took possession of the property. It was partially furnished.
But he said, no, all of your things are being carried away in this big truck.